Chapter 1868. Remember in 1 second. Love divided by you? Read book web. Update fast, no pop-up window, free to read. Sima Yue accepted Wang Ye's kindness, but she didn't say anything. She just said that if she could rush back, she would go. If she couldn't, there was no need to leave a place for her. Then she said goodbye to Morong Hui, and left with emoji directly from the arena. When the people in vast region learned that she had left, they were all disappointed and couldn't digest the news for a long time. How can she leave just like that? Miss is different from us. She won't stay in one place forever. Sigh, miss, I can't bear to part with her. Morong Hui heard their words and felt a little sad in his heart. Since she came to the ghost realm, he had been taking her with him. Now she had also flown out. After the end of the competition, Du Wangye announced this to everyone. The list of the top 10 in this region competition has come out. Congratulations to those who have advanced. Here, I have a piece of news to announce. Morongshi has left the competition because of some things. So in the following competition, only 9 people will compete for the top 9 places. This piece of news caused an uproar in the entire venue. She left just like that? She didn't want to participate in the following competition? With her strength, they were afraid that she would get more than the 10th place. They were really curious about what kind of thing made her willing to give up the competition. Xiao Ruabai and Gongzi Yuan, who were sitting in the audience, were shocked by the news. She left just like that. Xiao Ruabai was a little disappointed. She had a feeling that if she left today, they would really not have any intersection in the future. She didn't even tell us that she left. Gongzi Yuan complained in a low voice to hide the sadness in his heart. After all, she left so suddenly that they were not prepared at all. This news was too unexpected and they all needed to digest this matter. At this time, Sima Yue had already left Diyu City with Emoji and Huan. They sat on Emoji's flying beast and flew to the Nirvana River. Emoji, why don't we use the teleportation array? Sima Yue asked. I don't like the teleportation array that many people have used. Emoji replied. Sima Yue's mouth twitched. What kind of weird fetish was this? Another kind of mysophobia? Then why don't you make your own teleportation array? I heard from Yuan Yen that your array formation is quite powerful. I've run out of those long-distance formation stones. I'm waiting for them to send more to me. Sima Yue. Was this even possible? I used to think that this young master of the Mo clan was quite good, but now it seems that he also has a bunch of quirks. How long will we be flying like this? She asked again. A few years, it will be soon when they bring the things here. Emoji said. Sima Yue rolled her eyes. That's a waste of time. Why don't you help me set up the teleportation array? I have a lot of array stones. Emoji thought for a second and agreed. This was indeed a waste of time. They came to an empty space and Sima Yue took out a pile of array stones. Emoji helped her set up the array formation together. Sima Yue saw the undisguised arrangement of the array formation and laughed. Aren't you afraid that I will learn your method? Emoji glanced at her plaintively and said, the old ancestor has taught you a bunch of his underworld skills. Am I afraid that you will learn my method? Sima Yue rubbed her nose. Why did she have to bring it up? I said. Emoji stopped what he was doing, looked at her and asked, what else did the old ancestor do for you? What? Sima Yue didn't understand what he meant. He asked me to protect you and teach you underworld skills personally. Did he do anything else for you? Let you become a member of the Mo clan? Or give you something else? Emoji asked plaintively. No. Sima Yue understood this guy's mood. We didn't get along for a long time, so he didn't teach me much. He asked you to protect me. Isn't this actually discussed with you? If you don't want to, he definitely won't force you. He won't force me, he will just tell others about it. After saying that, he sighed. The old ancestor is so easy to bribe. Why didn't those people understand before? How can it be so easy? Do you know when your old ancestor first saw me, he was going to kill me? Sima Yue complained. Really? Of course. He said that he wanted to kill me for Aniheim. The strength of your old ancestor is not something that I can resist. Fortunately, I know how to make tea and have more tea leaves in my hands. so I was able to come back with my life. Sima Yue said so pitifully, which made Emoji feel better. Although it wasn't so good at the beginning, it was good in the end. Emoji said, "You have the underworld skills personally taught by the old ancestor, so you are his disciple. Even in the Emo clan, your status is very high." "I am his master," Sima Yue said. Emoji. The old ancestor of the Emo clan, it's not bad to be his disciple, and you still want to be his master? But if you say it, the old ancestor might really admit it. Alas, his heart was tired. He shook his head and continued to arrange the array. "By the way, what happened to the Nirvana River?" Sima Yue followed him out and didn't ask him what happened. "Could it be that my baby was born in advance?" Emoji rolled his eyes at her. "What baby?" "It's the people I left there. Something happened." Emoji said, "But there is indeed news coming back, saying that the recent movements in the Nirvana River have been a little big." "Ah, is that baby coming out?" "I don't know." "Then what happened to your people?" Sima Yue asked. "It said that every few days, there will be one less person, and there will be no bones left. But no matter how careful they are, it's still the same." When Emoji said this, he frowned slightly. That kind of feeling, it didn't seem like something that ordinary people could do. "Could it be that they were taken away by the river god?" Sima Yue said. "There is no river god in the Nirvana River," Emoji denied. "We'll know when we go and see." "Then let's speed up." Sima Yue sped up her hands, and the two worked together and quickly arranged the array. "Huan, come here." She waved to Huan, and Huan, who had been silent, came over. The three of them stood in the teleportation array and then disappeared. Because the distance was too far, they changed several teleportation arrays, and a month later, they finally arrived near the Nirvana River. The space near the Nirvana River is unstable, so we can't use the teleportation array for the rest of the journey, Emoji said. "Well, then let's take the flying beast." Sima Yue looked at the sky. She didn't know why, but when she felt here, the throbbing in her heart became more obvious. Could it be that there is really a treasure calling me? Chapter 1869. Remember in a second, Love Divided by You? Read Book Web. Update quickly, no pop-up window, free to read. After flying for a few days, they arrived at the Nirvana River. Apart from the wide Dead Sea, the Nirvana River looked no different from other rivers. Is this Nirvana River really connected to the River of Forgetfulness? I don't see any difference. Sima Yue asked Emoji. It doesn't look any different now, but the water is much lighter than ordinary river water. The closer we get to that area, the lighter the water is, and even feathers can't float in the end. Emoji explained. Then are we going to that area? We're near there. Emoji said. It's not far from here. Sima Yue saw many camps on the way, and every time they passed by, those people would look at them vigilantly. But after recognizing Emoji's flying beast, everyone respectfully retreated. The Emo clan has a very high status in the ghost realm. Sima Yue sighed. Emoji is the head of the 8 great aristocrats in the ghost realm, so his status is naturally very high. Emoji said proudly. Are the 8 great aristocrats all from the ghost realm? Sima Yue asked. 4 of them are, 3 are from the Soul Society, and 1 is from the Infernal Hell, Emoji said. There are also families in the Soul Society. Sima Yue was curious. Weren't those people with soul bodies? Could this kind of people marry and have children and reproduce a family? What are you thinking about? Emoji saw the light flashing in her eyes, and his head was full of black lines. Sima Yue smiled at him. Isn't this curious? Emoji rolled his eyes at her. The people of the Soul Clan can't carry on their ancestral line, but they will form a family. It's the same as forming a force, but the name is different. Then why not call it a force but a family? Sima Yue was puzzled anyway, wasn't it the same? Maybe this way they have a more sense of belonging. Emoji said, the Soul Clan in the Soul World have no previous memories, so it's easier to instill the idea of a family in them. You're right. I don't think many of them have memories. Sima Yue said, the head of the 8 great clans, your Emo clan is really powerful. Even so, isn't it still under the king's rule? Emoji was not complacent because of his family's status. Moreover, there are many hidden forces in the ghost realm. Those are really powerful. Do you admire them? It's not worship, but there is always something that I yearn for. Emoji said, the 9 Nether clan you mentioned last time, they are the real kings of the ghost realm. The 9 Nether clan used to be very powerful, but didn't they also decline now? It hasn't appeared for so many years. Maybe it doesn't exist anymore. Sima Yue said. Even if it doesn't exist anymore, it still makes people yearn for it. It's a kind of worship from the heart. After Emoji finished speaking, he sighed as if lamenting the decline of the 9 Nether clan. Sima Yue wanted to know something about the 9 Nether clan, but she couldn't talk to him more now, so she asked, can we go to that place and have a look? There. Emoji shook his head. It's too dangerous there, we'd better not get close. Once we accidentally fall into the water, we won't be able to get up again. Oh. Sima Yue was a soul body. Even if she really fell into the water, she was not afraid. But she still didn't want to say it now and make him worry. After flying for a few days, they finally arrived at the place where the Mo clan camped. When the people of the Mo clan saw Emoji, their decadent aura was swept away, as if they had found their backbone. Young master, you're finally here. A middle-aged man came to the front of the crowd and saluted Emoji. This is Mo Jean, the steward of the clan. This is Sima Yue, the disciple of the ancestor, and her friend Huan. Emoji introduced the two people and then asked, how is the situation now? Mo Jean was surprised when he heard Emoji say that Sima Yue was the disciple of the ancestor. Why haven't they heard of any disciple of the ancestor? In the face of Emoji's inquiry, he quickly restrained his mind and replied. Before, one person disappeared every 7 or 8 days, but now it has reached 1 every 5 days. It has been 3 days since the last time. In other words, another person will go missing in 2 days? Emoji said, didn't any of you notice anything unusual before? We're ashamed we really didn't. Emojan said. Since there are still 2 days, let's wait here. Sima Yue said. Maybe we can find something by then. She was very confident in Huan's strength. If there was really something, he should be able to find it. Emoji understood what she meant, and seeing that Huan didn't say anything, he agreed. Then let's wait for 2 days and see. Yes. Emojan responded. By the way, is this only happening here? What about other forces? Sima Yue asked. Almost every force has its own shame. It's just that the interval is different. Emojan replied. I see that there are still a lot of people along the way. Haven't they thought about leaving? The Nirvana River has been quite turbulent recently, and everyone is rumored to be about to be born. Now it's just a few people who are missing. How can it be compared to the enthusiasm for the treasure? Emojan replied. The last thing in the ghost realm is people. Sima Yue understood that there was no comparison between a few people dying and getting a treasure in the hearts of the living. Yue, you've been on the road for so long. Have a good rest today, and let's go around tomorrow. Emoji said. Sima Yue was indeed a little tired. Although she wanted to go to the river to have a look, she saw that Emoji still had something to tell Emojan and the others. He probably wouldn't agree to go out alone, so she and Huan went to find an empty space at the side of the camp to set up a tent. When the people of the Mo clan saw this, they all went up to help her, but she had nothing to do. Emojan looked in the direction of Sima Yue and asked, Young master, what is the origin of Sima Yue? How can she be the disciple of the ancestor? She is the child of the Dark Princess and the human race in the human world. It's not accurate to say that she is the disciple of the ancestor. She and the ancestor are both teachers and friends. She is the ancestor's master in the art of tea. The ancestor returned the favor and taught her a lot of underworld skills. Emoji was still brooding about this. Emojan was surprised. There was a rumor in the clan that the ancestor asked you to protect someone, is it her? That's right. Go back and tell everyone to pay attention to her safety. If anything happens to her, the old ancestor will peel our skin and pull out our tendons. Emoji ordered. I see, I'll give the order in a while. Okay. Now tell me what happened during this period of time. Yes. Not long after Sima Yoyue's tent was set up, there was movement from the Nirvana River. It was said that the river was moving more than before. Chapter 1870. In 1 second she remembered, Love Divided by You? Read book web quick update, no pop-up window, free to read. Sima Yue came out of the tent and came to Emoji's side, and said excitedly, "Is there a treasure coming out?" "No. I didn't sense the aura of a treasure." Emoji discouraged her enthusiasm. "Then what's going on?" Sima Yue asked. "Something must have happened at the bottom of the Nirvana River, and caused a battle," Emojan guessed. When Sima Yue heard that there was no treasure, her interest dropped by more than half, and she said, "It can't be that there were only people fighting at the bottom of the river before, right? If that was the case, then her trip would have been in vain." "No," Emojan said affirmatively. "We did sense other auras." "Okay then." Sima Yue looked at the surging river in the distance, and her mind was rippling. She wanted to go down and find out. She looked back at Huan behind her, only to see that Huan was in a daze, and his attention was not here. "Huan, what are you thinking about?" Sima Yue asked. Huan cut off the connection with the shadow and said, "I'm thinking about what kind of underworld beast dares to duel at the bottom of the Nirvana River." "Can't it?" Sima Yue asked. The Nirvana River is connected to the River of Forgetfulness. Once the river here goes out of control, the water of the River of Forgetfulness will flow over. At that time, all the underworld beasts in the Nirvana River will drown, Huan explained. Drown? Sima Yue was amused by this statement. Can the underworld beasts in the water be drowned by the water? This drowning is naturally different from ordinary drowning, Huan said. The water of the River of Forgetfulness is gentle, and the underworld beasts of the Nirvana River can no longer survive in it. Okay. Then what if the water of the Nirvana River flows into the River of Forgetfulness? Sima Yue asked. This does not have much impact on the underworld beasts in the River of Forgetfulness, but they can no longer sink to the bottom of the river to live, Huan said. So it is important to ensure the stability of the two rivers. Does anyone care about this? No one used to. However, the underworld beasts living in this area understand this, so no one will fight at the bottom of the river at will, Huan said. Emojan looked at Huan in surprise. Who was he? He actually knew so much. Now there are actually underworld beasts fighting directly at the bottom of the river regardless of the danger. It seems that they have been forced into a corner, Emoji said. However, Sima Yue caught on to another point. Huan, you said that no one was in charge of it in the past. In other words, someone is in charge now. There seems to be something going on at the River of Forgetfulness. Huan didn't say it out loud as he muttered in his heart that the king was too much. He didn't even tell her about the situation now. When she found out that Wu Lingyu was on the other side of the River of Forgetfulness, and knew that he had become like this, she would definitely be angry. Should he run away in advance and get someone else to follow her? Forget it. When she gets angry, I'll just say that it was the king's orders and push all the blame to the king. She won't do anything to the king anyway. Sima Yue called out a few scarlet bees and sent them out to scout for information. Some flew to investigate the surrounding situation, while others flew to the mysterious area. However, as soon as the scarlet bees flew into the area, they lost contact, which made Sima Yue frown. What's the matter? Emoji asked with concern. I lost contact with my bees. Sima Yue said. I'm going to the river to have a look. There's too much movement over there today. Let's go tomorrow. Emoji said and promised. Don't worry, today is definitely not the birth of a treasure. Although Sima Yue really wanted to see the situation over there, seeing Emoji repeatedly emphasizing it, she had to wait. At the same time, at the bottom of the river at the junction of the River of Forgetfulness and the Nirvana River, Wu Lingyu was fighting with a huge water snake. After a few rounds, the water snake was seriously injured and knew that it was no match for Wu Lingyu. So it turned around and fled towards the Nirvana River. Wu Lingyu watched as it ran away in a panic, and the corners of his mouth curled into a faint arc. Want to run? If you don't contribute your snake gallbladder today, how can you leave? After saying that, he raised his right hand and waved it a few times in the water. The water formed a whirlpool, and the huge suction force sucked the water snake back. Ah! How can you control the river water of the Nirvana River now? The water snake screamed in horror, as if it knew something incredible. The Nirvana River and the River of Forgetfulness are one. Since I can control the water of the River of Forgetfulness, what's the fuss about controlling the Nirvana River? Wu Lingyu said contemptuously, Little water snake, are you going to obediently hand over your snake gallbladder, or do I have to do it myself? I'll do it myself. The water snake finally gave in and spat out one of its gallbladders. It had 2 gallbladders, which were the source of its power. If it handed it over and kept one, it could still live. At worst, it could just repair another gallbladder in the future. If he had done it himself, then it would have definitely been cut open, and it would have died without a doubt. An emerald green gallbladder came out of its mouth. With a wave of his hand, Wu Lingyu sucked the gallbladder into his hand. The water snake thought that he would eat its gallbladder, but it didn't expect that he would just take out a jade box and put the gallbladder inside. My lord, aren't you going to eat it? It couldn't help but ask curiously. Who said that I stole your gallbladder to eat it? Wu Lingyu put away the box and glanced at it indifferently. I'm taking it as a gift. After saying that, he turned and returned to the River of Forgetfulness. I've collected another good thing for you. Come and take it. When the water snake heard his sigh, it was immediately petrified. He stole its gallbladder to give it to someone who hadn't come to the River of Forgetfulness yet. It didn't know who had such good luck to receive this great demon king's affection. After losing a gallbladder, not only was it heartbroken, its strength was also greatly reduced. It had to go into seclusion to recover its strength as soon as possible. When it thought of this, it swam back to its snake nest. What? You were also captured by the great demon king. The water snake's neighbor, a small fish, swam over. Yes. If I had known, I would have listened to you and not gone out at this time. The water snake was filled with regret. Ever since this great demon king came to the River of Forgetfulness, our Nirvana River has been in trouble. And he's so strong. Whoa, why didn't someone come and take him? The small fish was heartbroken about its strength, but it was also helpless against Wu Lingyu. Now he can not only control the water of the River of Forgetfulness, but also the Nirvana River. Who can beat him now? The water snake thought of Wu Lingyu's strength and still had lingering fears. Sigh, our days are really hard. Whoa. A snake and a fish cried together. This scene was strange no matter how one looked at it. Wu Lingyu returned to the underwater palace where he usually stayed. Looking at the boxes that he had piled high, he sighed deeply, as if he wanted to spit out his longing. Unfortunately, it was useless. When will you come to the River of Forgetfulness? Chapter 1871. Remember in 1 second, Love Divided by You? Read Book Web. Update quickly, no pop-up window, read for free. Sima Yue waited for a day before Emoji agreed to let her go to the river. There are a lot of beasts in the water. You must not get too close. Emoji exhorted. I know. Sima Yue nodded solemnly, muttering in her heart that he now had the potential to be an auntie. The 3 of them went to the river, but before they got into the water, they heard a commotion from the camp in the distance. What's the matter? Sima Yue looked in that direction and asked. It looks like something has happened. Emoji said. Sima Yue contacted her bee, and after hearing the news from the bee, she said with a solemn face, It seems that we can't leave the camp today. Let's go and see what's going on over there. Emoji said. No need to go. Sima Yue pulled him. They just found out that another person is missing. Another person is missing? Emoji frowned. We didn't see anything just now. We didn't pay attention. We didn't expect that thing to come and catch people today. Sima Yue said. We are not far from those people, I think. Maybe they will attack the Mo clan. Let's go back and have a look. Emoji was the young master of the Mo clan. He was very concerned about the safety of his people. Okay. When Sima Yue heard the news, she knew that she couldn't leave today, so she obediently followed them back. When Emojan saw Emoji and the others coming back, He hurried forward and said, "Young master, things are getting more serious. 3 of them are missing this time." "Did no one find out that 3 people are missing?" Emojan shook his head. "The other party was too quiet." "Emojan, go and count our number and see if anyone is missing," Emoji ordered. Sima Yue stood behind him and saw that something was not right behind the Mo clan. "Be careful." She condensed her spiritual power and hit the last person in the crowd. The man was stunned at first, but he still subconsciously avoided it. However, her spiritual power did not dissipate, but strangely disappeared. "Yue, what's wrong?" Emoji and the others didn't notice any strange movements. But seeing that Sima Yue's move disappeared just like that, everyone knew that something was wrong. "I saw a faint shadow behind him just now." Sima Yue pointed at the spot. "But we didn't see any shadow." The others looked at the place doubtfully, but they didn't see anything. "That shadow is transparent, so you can't see it," Sima Yue said. "Then how did you find out?" Emojan asked. "I saw it," Sima Yue said. "Although it was faint, I still saw it." Saw it? Everyone looked at her in surprise. "We couldn't see it." "How did you see it?" "I saw it just like that." Sima Yue did not know either. "Maybe it's because my eyes are different from others." His eyes were different. Everyone stared at her eyes, but they couldn't see anything different. Emoji also stared at her eyes, but soon retracted his gaze and turned to look at the place just now. "What about the shadow just now?" "It ran into the river." Sima Yue pointed to the river. "Something in the river?" "It should be," Sima Yue said. "I don't know what it is, but I saw it floating from the river for some distance." "Then did you see what it was?" Emoji asked. Sima Yue shook her head. "It's just a blurry shadow." "So those missing people were all taken away by that shadow," Emojan said. "They weren't captured. They were eaten," Sima Yue said. "The shadow I saw seemed to be about to swallow him." "Eaten?" "Yes. I think the shadow I saw should be eating people," Sima Yue said. "Those missing people should have been eaten at that time." The Mo clan couldn't digest the news for a while. Ordinary clansmen didn't carry their life cards with them at all, so they didn't know that these people were already dead when they disappeared. If those people were just missing, they could still think about whether it was possible for them to come back. But now that she said this, it has already broken their hope. "That thing was beaten away by you. I don't know if it will come back later." The Mo clan people felt a little scared at the thought of such an invisible thing eyeing them covetously. The atmosphere suddenly fell silent. "Since that thing has been beaten away, it shouldn't come back for the time being. We will find out what it is. During this period of time, everyone should be careful and try not to act alone." Emoji comforted everyone, and then said to Sima Yue, "Yue, come here." Sima Yue and Huan followed him and left the place and came out of the camp. "Yue, how can you see that shadow?" Emoji asked. "Don't say that your eyes are special. You don't even believe this yourself." Didn't your ancestor tell you?" Sima Yue smiled. "I think I can see it probably because I am a soul body." "You are a soul body?" Emoji was shocked by the news and said in disbelief, "Are you really a soul body?" "Then in the human world, I was originally dead," Sima Yue said, "but it seems that someone in the human world saved my body again, so I didn't lose my memory." You. Emoji looked at her. "Are you really a soul body?" Sima Yue nodded. "Then how did you?" He remembered that when he met her, her strength was still very low. So how could she condense a body? "Condense a body? Someone else helped me condense this," Sima Yue said without a care. "Since you saw this as a soul body, is that also a soul body underworld beast? From the Wangchuan River?" Emoji guessed. "I don't know about this," Sima Yue said. "I don't know much about the underworld beasts in this river." "That is a vapor beast, which lives at the junction of the Wangchuan River and the Nirvana River. It lives alone, can be invisible and can change forms, but its strength is not very powerful. After being injured, it will be very vengeful, but it will not recover in 3 to 5 days, so it will not come to trouble you for the time being." Huan, who had been quiet, said. Huan, do you know this kind of underworld beast? Sima Yue asked. Kind of. Huan said. He would not tell them that this was the news he got from contacting the Black Shadow just now. The Black Shadow had been here for so many years and knew the situation here, so they could just ask him if there was anything. So these 3 to 5 days are safe, Sima Yue said. Why don't we take advantage of this time to solve this problem? Chapter 1872. In 1 second she remembered. Love divided by you? Read book web quick update. No pop-up window, free to read. You want to kill the vapor beast? Let's talk about it later. Huan, didn't you say that this vapor beast is vengeful? I heard it today. It will definitely come to me for revenge. Sima Yue said. Instead of waiting for it to come to me, it's better to find it now. As the saying goes, take its life when it's sick, isn't it? That's fine too. Huan agreed. It's more appropriate to find it now when it recovers and comes to you for revenge. But we don't know much about the situation at the bottom of the river. If we go down like this, I'm afraid we will encounter danger. Emoji was a little worried. Why don't I let Emojan take some people down to explore the situation first? They can't see the vapor beast. Besides, all of them together can't beat Huan, so why let them take the risk? Sima Yue said. That's true. Emoji responded. But you don't have to be so direct. Then it's settled. Huan and I will go down. Sima Yue looked at Huan after she finished speaking and said with a smile. Huan, you have no objections, right? I have no objections, but we have to wait for someone. We can only go down when he comes. Huan had no objections to her arrangement. He just needed to follow her and protect her. Who are we waiting for? Black Shadow. Black Shadow is coming too? He's been here recently. Huan said. I think he's more familiar with this place. Let him come over, and we can have a guide when we go down. There's also a thug, right? Sima Yue laughed. Before, when you didn't want to do it, you let him do it. It's called training him. He likes this kind of exercise. Huan had no shame. He contacted Black Shadow, and not long after, Black Shadow came over. As soon as Black Shadow saw Sima Yue, he ran over excitedly and hugged her, wailing. Miss! Sob sob sob, Miss, Black Shadow finally sees you again. Huan pulled him off Sima Yue and said in disgust, Shame. How is it shameful? Black Shadow waited for him. If you didn't follow Miss, you would definitely be like me. No, he must be even more excited than me. Not like you. Huan said. Humph, if you hadn't snatched this opportunity, the person guarding by Miss's side would have been me. The Black Shadow was very unhappy about this matter. If you hadn't cheated at that time, how could I have lost? That's called using your wits. Huan glanced at him indifferently. His gaze was very obvious. You're the one who's stupid, so how can you blame me? Sima Yue saw that Huan was about to make Black Shadow angry again, so she quickly pulled him back and said, Okay, the two of you can't stop arguing. And every time he was bullied by Huan, he didn't even know it. Miss, if you don't want me to tell you, then I won't tell you. The Black Shadow obeyed Sima Yue's orders. If you don't want me to tell you, then I won't tell you. Black Shadow, how did you come to the River of Forgetfulness? Sima Yue asked. This. Black Shadow looked at Huan and saw him shaking his head. He said, Well, the king gave me some tasks, so I came here. Ming asked you to come to the River of Forgetfulness? What are you doing here? Sima Yue was curious. Didn't Ming Wang boast that he hadn't participated in the affairs of the ghost world for a long time? This. You will know in the future. I can't tell you now. Black Shadow looked at Sima Yue pleadingly, hoping that she would stop asking. If she continued to ask, he would not be able to help but tell her. This would go against the king's intention of letting them see each other, and he would be punished. Sima Yue saw that he was in a difficult position, and became even more curious. Could it be that he was doing something shameful? TSK, would Ming do such a thing? At this time, she was completely unaware that this matter was related to her. Huan and Black Shadow looked at her eyes that were shining and gossipy, and the corners of their mouths twitched. They didn't know that she was so gossipy now. If she knew that this matter was related to her, would she be so angry that she would cramp up? But fortunately, she sympathized with him and did not continue to ask. Black Shadow, how much do you know about the situation underwater? I know very well. I know about the Bayan River and the River of Forgetfulness. Miss, where are you going? Black Shadow breathed a sigh of relief and asked with a smile. Do you know where the Vapor Beast is? Vapor Beast? I know. Although that guy is not strong, it is very cunning and not easy to catch. What did that guy do to offend Miss? Black Shadow asked. Something happened. Sima Yue told him about how the Vapor Beast ate people and was injured by her. That guy wouldn't dare to find trouble with Miss even if he had 10 guts. Otherwise, I will beat him up. Black Shadow knew more about the Vapor Beast. If it really offended her, he would definitely not let it live. Sima Yue stared at him. How do you know so much about the underworld beasts underwater? Ahem, after staying there for a long time, I understand. Black Shadow said vaguely. Could he say that it was because someone had a bad temper and couldn't vent it on Hell King, so he had to find trouble with the underworld beasts at the bottom of the river, and collect their spiritual power to prepare a gift for her? As someone's protector and troublemaker, he naturally followed them at the bottom of the river. There was nothing that he didn't know about the bottom of the river. Since you know everything, then let's go to the bottom of the river to solve this matter. Then we will look for the treasure, Sima Yue said. Treasure? What treasure? Black Shadow asked in surprise. The treasure at the bottom of the river. Haven't you noticed that a lot of people have come here recently, all for the treasure at the bottom of the river? Sima Yue was even more surprised than him. Thinking of something, she suddenly grabbed Black Shadow's hand. You don't know about the treasure? You are so familiar with the underwater, but you don't know about it. Is the news of this treasure fake? Black Shadow's mouth twitched, thinking about how to tell her the truth. Where was the birth of a treasure? Those movements were all made by her family. There was no treasure at all. Juan guessed what was going on when he saw his expression. He stepped forward and said, Miss, let's solve the matter of the Vapor Beast first. Let's talk about the treasure later. Well, okay, I'll tell Emoji, Sima Yue said. Emoji was called away by Emojan when he was waiting for Black Shadow. Now that she was ready to go into the water, she naturally told him. When Emoji heard that she was going down, he wanted to say that he would go down with her, but when he thought of what she said, he still didn't say it. If there is any danger, be sure to tell me, he urged. I know. Sima Yue casually won. If something really happened, he wouldn't be able to rush over with his people. They came to the river and looked at the rolling water. Juan and Black Shadow each condensed a protective circle. As Sima Yue was a soul, she didn't need to breathe, so she didn't need to use this at all. When everything was ready, they jumped down together. The water splashed with small waves, and then calmed down. Chapter 1873. Love. You? Read BookNet. No pop-ups, free to read. Fast updates, no pop-ups, free to read. The dragon eye was in the river of forgetfulness. Normally, it didn't look conspicuous. Many river beasts swam around here, but they didn't look different because of it. The dragon eye was buried in the sand. If not for a coincidence, Wu Lingyu would not have found it and survived through the pagoda. Sima Yue kept all the boxes and followed Wu Lingyu to the place where the dragon eye was. Ming and the others had already arrived and cleared the surrounding river beasts. A milky white bead with a diameter of 10 feet was casually placed in a pile of coral. It was covered with moss and looked inconspicuous. This is the dragon eye? The root of the river of forgetfulness? Sima Yue squatted in front of the dragon eye and looked at the huge bead. Perhaps because Wu Lingyu's soul was fused with it, she felt a familiar aura from the bead. It was a little intimate. However, if she carefully sensed it, she would find that the familiar feeling was not just from Wu Lingyu's aura. She reached out to push the dragon eye. The dragon eye seemed to be placed there casually. She used half of her strength, but she could not move it at all. You don't have to try. Even I can't move it, said Ming. Miss, why don't we try? The people present were not weak, and together they were strong. Okay. She glanced at Ming, and the latter came over reluctantly. She muttered, I really owe you. That's why I'm doing such a degrading thing with you. Sima Yue smiled and did not refute. The 5 of them exerted their strength together, but the dragon eye still did not move. This dragon eye is really strange. Sima Yue touched her chin thoughtfully. I told you. Brute force is useless against it, said Ming. Why don't you try using the chaos chi in your body? Chaos chi? Sima Yue was surprised. You came back from the chaotic world, so your soul is naturally stained with chaos chi. It is the aura that your body has concealed, explained Ming patiently. Sima Yue blinked her eyes and obediently released her aura. The dragon eye, which had no reaction before, began to emit a faint light. Seeing this, she placed her hand on the dragon eye and pushed it hard. Finally, the dragon eye had an indiscernible sway. If it were not for the fact that the people present were all top-notch experts, they might not be able to feel the slightest shake. However, she soon realized that she did not have enough strength. Her body was a little weak, and the degree of shaking was even greater than the dragon eye. Wu Lingyu noticed that her condition was not right. He quickly supported her and pulled her hand away from the dragon eye. Sima Yue felt that the feeling of her losing strength had disappeared. From the time she touched the dragon eye to Wu Lingyu pulling her down, it was only a matter of a few seconds. If it were not for Wu Lingyu's quick reaction, Sima Yue would have been drained of all her strength. Miss, how are you? Asked the black shadow with concern. They did not expect that the dragon eye would have such a big reaction after touching the chaos chi. If it were not for the connection between Wu Lingyu and the dragon eye, which allowed him to feel this and save her in time, it would have hurt her foundation. Ming looked at Sima Yue's pale face, and for the first time he regretted his words. If he did not let her try the chaos chi, such a thing would not have happened. Wu Lingyu hugged Sima Yue and blamed himself. Sima Yue saw that they were all looking at her nervously. She smiled at them and said, I'm fine. Do you feel uncomfortable anywhere? If there is, say it. Wu Lingyu said gently. I'm fine. I just feel a little dizzy and weak. I don't want to stay here any longer. Sima Yue said. Then let's go out first. Wu Lingyu hugged her and disappeared from the bottom of the river. Not long after, they appeared on the riverbank. Then, Ming came out with Huan and the black shadow. Ming went up to her and checked her hand. Then he sighed in relief and said, I'm fine. I just used up all my energy. I'll be fine after some rest. Sima Yue nodded. She knew that the energy Ming was talking about was not the spiritual energy in her body, but the energy of her soul and body. How long do you need to rest? She wanted to solve Wu Lingyu's problem as soon as possible. Then, she would go to the imperial capital and ask the Ghost King about the truth. If he could tell her everything about her mother, she would consider whether or not to accept him. If he was not willing to accept her, she would not think of him as her grandfather. She would find another way to find her mother. Even Mou was present at the scene when the incident had blown up. Even if he did not know where her mother was imprisoned, how could he not find it? This will take a long time. You won't be able to recover without 3 to 5 months, Ming said faintly. So long? Of course. What kind of situation do you think you are in? Your energy was almost sucked dry. Do you know that? Ming suddenly stopped scolding her. To be honest, she was in this state because of what he said. Thinking of this, he lowered his voice and said, You have to rest well. I will go back and think of a way for you. Okay. Sima Yue nodded. Everyone had seen the reaction of the dragon eye just now. Maybe if they followed this path, they would be able to think of a way. Look after her. Don't do anything stupid before her body recovers. Ming instructed Wu Lingyu, and then he tore open space and left. He did not say that he was going to bring Black Shadow and Huan with him, and they were happy not to ask. To put it nicely, they were staying behind to protect Yue. I didn't expect the dragon eye to be so powerful. Miss was injured so badly after just a short contact. Black Shadow looked at Sima Yue. Is there any elixir that can help you recover? Sima Yue shook her head slightly. Her energy had been sucked away, and it was not a normal injury. Ordinary elixirs would not work, and she did not prepare any rare elixirs. Then, does the young miss have anything that can help you recover? If there is, Black Shadow and I will look for it, Huan said. With his reminder, Sima Yue's eyes brightened. She smiled weakly and said, "No need, I've already found it." After saying that, she moved her mind and brought everyone into the Soul Tower. Little Ling already knew what she meant, and brought them to the Tree of Souls. "Elder Bai, sorry to bother you." Sima Yue bowed to Elder Bai. "Why are you injured so badly? Come to me." Elder Bai shook his body, and the leaves rustled. The fragrance that wafted into the air made Huan and Black Shadow feel refreshed. Wu Lingyu carried Sima Yue over, and placed her under the tree, letting her rest against the trunk. Elder Bai noticed him, and said in surprise, "Huh? This soul is so strange." Chapter 1874. In 1 second, she remembered, Love Divided by You? Read book web, no pop-up windows, free to read. Wang. The moment she entered the river of forgetfulness, something seemed to have been awakened. It was a very familiar feeling, a very gentle touch. In the underwater palace, Wu Lingyu's closed eyes suddenly opened, the light in his eyes shining brightly. "Yu, you're finally here," he murmured and disappeared from the throne. Sima Yue felt that her body was firmly pressed to the bottom of the river of forgetfulness. She hurriedly put away the things that increased her weight. Only then did she feel a little better. You've got guts. You actually dared to find trouble with me." A voice sounded behind her. She turned around and saw the vapor beast slowly appearing in the water. The vapor beast looked like a bubble. On top of the bubble was a semicircular head with 2 lantern-like eyes. It was staring fiercely at Sima Yue. "How did you see me?" the vapor beast asked. "I saw you just like that." Sima Yue's body was wrapped by something like silk, but she was not in a hurry to break free. She looked towards the Nirvana River, wanting to see Black Shadow and Huan's situation. "You don't have to look, they don't have the energy to save you now," the vapor beast said proudly. Sima Yue thought of the lifeless eyes of the fishes and suddenly said, "You controlled the minds of those fishes." "That's right." The vapor beast grabbed the other side of the silk, and with a thought, Sima Yue was tied even tighter. "You ghost, I haven't even gone to find you for revenge, but you came here instead." Sima Yue's arm hurt from being wrapped by that thing. She tried to struggle for a while, but it only made it tighter and tighter. "This is a divine weapon. The more you struggle, the tighter it gets. And it can't be cut, it can't be destroyed." The vapor beast slowly approached. You dared to hurt me. I'll eat you today and use your spiritual energy to heal my injuries." As it spoke, it opened its mouth wide. Its semicircular mouth stretched all the way to its stomach. It was almost as long as Sima Yue. Sima Yue could already see the sharp teeth in its mouth and smell the stench coming from its mouth. Just as she was about to call me air out, she felt someone grabbing her shoulder and pulling her back. At the same time, a spiritual energy hit the vapor beast, blasting the lower half of its mouth off. It's you." The vapor beast saw Wu Lingyu. Although Wu Lingyu didn't cause it any trouble, it still knew about his reputation. When it saw him, it turned around and fled towards the Nirvana River. "You still want to escape?" Black Shadow and Huan saw that it was going to eat Sima Yue from afar, and caught it just in time. Sima Yue did not bother about the escaping vapor beast. The moment she sensed the familiar aura, she could not help but cry. She smiled and looked at the angry Wu Lingyu. She didn't even dare to blink, afraid that if she blinked, it would become an illusion. When the tears left her eyes, they merged with the river water, but they were still discovered by Wu Lingyu. "Don't cry." His anger dissipated in an instant. He reached out and touched her face, gently caressing her eyes. "Lingyu, I'm not dreaming, am I?" She looked at him, and felt that this scene was too unbelievable and unreal. Wu Lingyu hugged her, wishing that he could melt her body into his. "Yue, I finally waited for you." He buried his head in her neck, his voice trembling. Sima Yue's arm was helped, but she could still move her forearm. She hugged his waist and buried her head in his chest. At this moment, she did not want to think about anything and let herself go. She only had him in her eyes and in her heart. It seemed that there were only the two of them in the world. Huan and Black Shadow caught the vapor beast and saw the two people hugging each other. To be exact, they saw Wu Lingyu hugging Sima Yue. Their hearts were bubbling. Logically speaking, they should not disturb them at this time. However, this scene made them unhappy, so they could not make someone happy. Well, I say, shouldn't we untie the young lady first? The black shadow spoke, interrupting their two-person world. Miss Arm is bleeding. Huan added. Wu Lingyu happened to be facing the two of them. He glared at them and let go of Sima Yue. His eyes darkened when he saw that her arm was bleeding because of the underworld weapon. I'm fine. Sima Yue touched his arm and comforted him. I'll untie you. He pulled on the underworld weapon and wanted to destroy it directly. Hey, don't destroy it. Sima Yue knew what he was thinking when she saw him like this, so she quickly stopped him. Why do you want it? Wu Lingyu asked. Sima Yue nodded. This underworld weapon is quite interesting. She had thought about it before. If she killed this vapor beast, this underworld weapon would become ownerless, and she would be able to keep it in her bag. Since you want it, I'll keep it for you. Wu Lingyu put down the underworld weapon and turned his gaze to the vapor beast. When the vapor beast saw his eyes, it immediately knelt down in fear and kept shouting, Lord, Lord, please spare my life. Lord, please spare my life. Lord, please spare my life. Wu Lingyu stopped Sima Yue and said coldly, If you had done something ordinary, I could have spared your life. But you wanted to kill Yue and hurt her. Do you want to kill yourself, or do you want me to do it? The vapor beast was filled with despair. It did not expect that it would end up like this. Not only did this guy suddenly appear and occupy the bottom of the river, he even wanted to kill it today. Since it was going to die no matter what, why not? Pooh. Before the vapor beast could get up, its body was pierced by a water arrow and it fell down. The underworld weapon that was tied to Sima Yue lost control because of its owner's death and loosened. Wu Lingyu took it down and put it in her hand. Sima Yue rubbed her numb arm and kept the underworld weapon. She smiled and said, Wait until I get to the shore. I'll make this underworld weapon recognize me as its owner. Let me take a look at your injuries. Wu Lingyu said. I'm fine. Lingyu, let me introduce them to you. They are. Before Sima Yue could finish her sentence, she was pulled away by Wu Lingyu. I don't know the guy who came with you, but I'm already very familiar with Black Shadow. Don't worry about these two people. Let's find a place to talk first. Wu Lingyu's voice floated over. You two are not allowed to follow. Of course, Black Shadow and Huan would not listen to him, but when they moved, they found that they were trapped by the water and could only watch him take Sima Yue away. Damn, this guy must be taking revenge. Revenge on us for interrupting them just now. Black Shadow shouted. Although the power of the River of Forgetfulness would not hurt them, it was still possible to temporarily trap them. Huan gave him a look that said, I didn't expect him to be so powerful. He has already merged with the River of Forgetfulness, so well. Sure enough, his talent is enough to make the king sigh. Chapter 1875. In 1 second, she remembered, Love Divided by You? Read book web no pop-up window, free to read. Sima Yue and Wu Lingyu went to the palace and left Black Shadow and Black Shadow alone. She didn't know what had happened, but Wu Lingyu knew Black Shadow, which meant that Black Shadow and Black Shadow were hiding something from her. Wu Lingyu had come to the ghost world, and they didn't tell her such a big thing. She naturally wanted to punish them and protest. She and Wu Lingyu came to the palace and saw this magnificent place. She had too many questions in her heart. Wu Lingyu carried her to the throne and sat down. She reached out and wrapped her arms around his neck. Lingyu, don't talk. Wu Lingyu kissed her red lips. He put one hand around her waist and the other hand under her armpit, holding her head and gently pressing her towards him. Sima Yue could feel his warmth, his lingering feelings, and his endless longing, just like how she longed for him. How many times did she miss him and couldn't cultivate in peace? How many times did she miss him so much that she had to continue to face the future alone? She thought that she would have to wait until she succeeded in her cultivation and return to the human world before she could see him again. She was worried that it would take too long and he would no longer wait for her. She didn't expect that she would meet him in the ghost world and meet him here. His appearance even made her think that all of this was just an illusion, just because she missed him too much. Wu Lingyu let go of her lips. His hands moved upwards and cupped her face. He leaned his forehead against hers and rubbed the tip of her nose gently. Yue, Yue, Yue didn't answer him this time. Instead, she held his face and offered her lips. When Black Shadow and Huan broke free from the shackles of the river and came to the palace, they could enter other places except for the main hall where they were. This guy's enchantment is so powerful. Huan had always thought that Sima Yoyue's enchantment was not bad. He did not know that Wu Lingyu was even more powerful than her. It's over. Miss must be angry this time. The Black Shadow grabbed his neck with both hands. What should I do? What should we do? Miss will be fine in a while. What I'm worried about now is that guy. Huan said with a solemn expression. Although he wasn't by Wu Lingyu's side, he still knew a lot about Wu Lingyu and his temper. Now that he knew that they had brought Sima Yue here, and did not allow them to see each other, it would not be easy for him to let this matter slide. Black Shadow was relieved and said with a chuckle, as long as Miss isn't angry, then it's fine. Wu Lingyu was indeed wholeheartedly devoted to the young miss, and doted on her a lot. As long as young miss says the word, he will definitely not pursue this matter anymore. Then we'd better be sensible and not disturb them. Otherwise, Sima Yue would be angry. Then I'll take you around this palace. This underwater palace is not bad. It's much better than the king's small hut. Aren't you afraid that the king will beat you up if he hears you? The king is not here right now. Sima Yue and Wu Lingyu lingered for a while before letting go of each other. Wu Lingyu touched her blushing cheeks and whispered softly, Yue, I miss you. I miss you too. Sima Yue rubbed his palm, put her hands around his waist, and then leaned her head on his shoulder. Lingyu, I'm not dreaming, am I? Did you really come to the ghost realm? Are you really not a figment of my imagination? Wu Lingyu felt her dependence on him, and was both happy and distressed. He leaned over and kissed her cheek, saying, I'm here, Yue, I'm here to accompany you. Sima Yoyue's hands clenched even tighter, as if doing so could lessen the longing in her heart. Suddenly, she sat up and looked at him in horror, shouting, This is the river of forgetfulness. Only souls can come here. Are you dead as well? Who is it? Who killed you? Yue, don't be nervous. I'm fine. Wu Lingyu grabbed her hand and calmed her down. Impossible. Sima Yue did not believe him. You're also a soul body, how could you? I came here on my own. Wu Lingyu said, I'm not dead. My physical body is now being nourished in the demon realm. Why did you? Sima Yue was confused. Why didn't you come here directly? With his strength, wasn't it easy for him to travel through the 3 realms? Yinlin said that I can only see you if I wait for you here. By the river of forgetfulness, we'll meet again, so I came here to wait for you. Wu Lingyu explained. How is Yinlin? Sima Yue thought of her old friends when she heard those names. Yinlin passed away not long after you left. Yinlin he. Sima Yue suddenly felt sad when she heard this news, sighing. When I met him previously, his body wasn't very good. I didn't expect him to pass away so quickly. How's Xiao Tong? Xiao Tong has taken over the position of the divination clan leader. No one in the clan has any objections to this. Before I came to the ghost realm, I heard that his ability to predict the future has improved rapidly after his master's death. He can already rely on his own strength to gain everyone's recognition. Wu Lingyu said. Xiao Tong is very attached to Yinlin. He must not be feeling well now that Yinlin is gone. Sima Yue felt sorry for Xiao Tong, but there was nothing she could do. I'm also very attached to you. You should feel sorry for me when I saw your body explode into pieces. Wu Lingyu said. I'm sorry. I didn't expect that after I used the power of faith, this would happen. You really don't know? Wu Lingyu stared at her. Sima Yue pouted, pinched his earlobe and said coquettishly, At that time I didn't have any other choice. That old man's protective shield could only be broken by my power of faith. If I didn't do that, Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior and the guild leader would all die. Humph. Wu Lingyu snorted coldly. Lingyu, don't be angry. Sima Yue pinched his earlobe, sighing. To be able to touch you again, this chubby feeling, it's so good. Wu Lingyu's anger that he had gathered with great difficulty was driven away by her words. leaving behind only heartache and helplessness. He knew that she did it on purpose, but he was still defeated by her move. He pinched her face and said, "Do you know how I felt when I rushed over and saw that you were all ready? At that time, I felt that my sky had collapsed. There seems to be no meaning for me to live in this world." Sima Yue hugged him. "I'm sorry, Ling Yu, I'm sorry." Wu Lingyu hugged her back, bit her lips as if punishing her, and murmured, "Don't do this again, Yue, I can't bear it a second time." Chapter 1876. In 1 second, she remembered. Love divided by you? Read book web, no pop-up windows, free to read. Sima Yue's heart felt like it was being stabbed by needles. She leaned on his body and shook her head, saying, I won't do such things to make your heart ache in the future. If you go back on your words, I'll. Wu Lingyu didn't know what to say after that. What will you do? Sima Yue raised her head and looked at him. Will you ignore me and not want me anymore? Can I bear to? Wu Lingyu rubbed her head. Ignore you, don't want you, which part of that I can tolerate? I just hate myself. If I was by your side, you wouldn't have. I knew that your body was in danger, but I still left you in the human world. I can't forgive myself. It's not your fault. Sima Yue didn't want him to blame himself. You know my strength. As long as I don't use the power of faith, I can still control myself. You also didn't know that I would use the power of faith. But speaking of which, before my divine consciousness fell into darkness, I seem to have seen my body explode into pieces. But the old ancestor said that my body was saved by someone, so I could keep my memories. What happened after I lost consciousness? Wu Lingyu didn't want to think about the scene at that time. Every time he thought about it, his heart would be cut into pieces. But now that she was the one asking him, he had to say it. When that **** arrived, you were indeed only left with broken limbs and bones. I used time reversal to change the time to before you exploded and reconstructed your body. But your soul immediately left, so your body returned to normal, but it was still a lifeless corpse. When Wu Lingyu said this, his body couldn't help but tremble. Sima Yue hugged him and kissed his cheeks, comforting him. Lingyu, I'm here. That's all in the past. If you don't want to, then don't think about it. Wu Lingyu caressed her hand, saying, This time it really scared me. He paused for a moment before continuing. After that, Yin Lin brought the Phoenix Master over. She used a treasure to exchange for your life. Aunt Feng. I owe Aunt Feng one more time. Sima Yue murmured. Do my grandpa and the others know about me? I know. Because at that time, we brought your body to the Sima family. Then aren't they scared? Yes, I did. But with Yin Lin telling them to take care of their bodies and that there would be a time when they could return, they felt a little better. As for the herbs used to nourish you, they will be sent to the Sima family by various people. It can be said that the Sima family is in the limelight now compared to those first-rate forces. Do Feng and the others know? Got it. If the people of Paramount Valley weren't suppressed by the Valley Lord, they would have gone to the Sima family to protect you. Feng and the others were very sad, but they were still okay. The one who changed the most was Li Er. Because this matter was caused by her capture, she blamed herself. She said that if she became stronger, this wouldn't have happened. The last news I received was that she left Paramount Valley and went out to train. Wu Lingyu slowly explained what happened in the human realm. Sima Yue could imagine everyone's reaction. After hearing about Shimin Li, she sighed, saying, Leah has been sensitive since she was young. I'm afraid this will be a huge blow to her. That matter is a huge blow to everyone. Wu Lingyu said emotionally. What about you? Sima Yue raised her head and looked at him. How did you come to the ghost realm? Don't try to fool me. You know me. The words that Wu Lingyu had prepared took a detour and went back. He smiled helplessly, saying, Actually, it's nothing. I just used a secret method to pull my soul out of my body. It's about the same as you. It's just that I didn't suffer like you did. Sima Yue's eyes reddened. Although she didn't know what secret method he was talking about, she knew that it must be something very harmful to the body. The process might be very painful. She didn't know if it would affect him in the future. And he actually came here for her. Wu Lingyu saw her like this and his heart ached. He quickly comforted her. It's really nothing. It'll be over in a while. Sima Yuyue's eyes reddened. She kept shaking her head. She didn't believe what he said. It must be very, very painful. Lingyu, thank you for doing so much for me. Silly, there's no need to thank me between us. If you really want to thank me, don't think about the past. Be happy. You're breaking my heart. As he said this, he pretended to touch his chest with his hand. Pfft. You're not sure. Why are you acting like a shizi holding your heart? Sima Yuyue was amused and her self-blame eased a lot. Wu Lingyu moved his lips closer. Yuyue, I still like to see you smile. After saying that, he kissed her tender and alluring lips. Huan and Black Shadow walked around the palace more than a dozen times. When they returned, the main hall was still surrounded by the enchantment. Miss is really too much. We've surrounded the palace and admired it more than a dozen times. I don't know how many ants have been trampled to death, but she still hasn't come out. Black Shadow poked the enchantment and complained. Will there be ants in the palace? I'm just making an analogy. Black Shadow looked at Huan with dissatisfaction. This guy was always tearing down his words. Are we going to wait outside all the time? Don't worry, it won't be long before they come out. Huan said with certainty. How do you know? Because the king is coming. The king is coming? How do you know? The king has been paying attention to Mrs. Affairs. Now that she's about to be abducted, of course he will come. Huan explained. You're saying that the king has been paying attention to things here? Black Shadow was stunned. Yes, so you said that the king's palace is a small hut. He probably knows about it too. Huan said and looked at him sympathetically. You dare to say that the king's palace is a small hut? Just wait until you go back and guard those two small huts. Why didn't you tell me earlier? Black Shadow was about to cry and looked at him sadly. You didn't ask me. Huan's indifferent expression made Black Shadow want to punch him. Unfortunately, after experiencing countless beatings, this idea could only remain as an idea. Thinking of his possible end, he wailed in his heart. Please don't let the king know. He didn't want to go back and guard those two small huts. After a while, as Huan said, the enchantment in front of the main hall was removed. This meant that the people inside had agreed to let them in. However, after seeing Sima Yuyue, before they could speak, there was a change in the space. Then a door was opened and Ming walked out. However, the air pressure on his body was so low that the river water was about to freeze. Chapter 1877. In 1 second she remembered, Love Divided by You? Read book web no pop-up window, free to read. Ming stared at Sima Yuyue's hand around Wu Lingyu's waist. He was very unhappy, very unhappy. Sima Yue did not care that he had exposed himself. She was still angry at him for not telling her that Wu Lingyu was here. Thus, she leaned her head on Wu Lingyu's shoulder and stared at Ming without saying a word. Ming almost spat out a mouthful of blood. I'm doing this for your sake. Why are you still angry at me? Stop it. Don't think that I don't know that you did it for your own interests. Sima Yue saw through him. Wu Lingyu did not say anything. He had not interacted with Ming Wang directly, so it was better for him not to say anything for now. I did it for your own good. Didn't you forget about the underworld at the start? What should I tell you? You have been thinking about your man. How can he protect you if he's not strong enough? I'm helping him increase his strength. Why would a man complain to a woman when he meets with a problem? Ming Wang snorted coldly. He was angry at her for not appreciating his help. Sima Yue stood up and said with a gloomy face, What did you do to Lingyu? Ming stared at Wu Lingyu. This guy did not say anything? Tell me, what did you do to Lingyu? Sima Yue did not dare to imagine what this guy would do to Wu Lingyu when he was bored. Actually, it's nothing much. Wu Lingyu pulled Sima Yue back to sit down. It just gave me some experience. Experience? Sima Yue looked at Ming in confusion. I think it's more than that. It's really just experience. Look, aren't I fine now? Wu Lingyu patted her hand and comforted her. That's right, and he even gained a lot of benefits. Look, The river of forgetfulness has already fused with him. Ming snorted coldly. He looked at Wu Lingyu in a slightly better light. Humph, at least he did not complain to Sima Yue. Merged into one? Sima Yue frowned. She was not as happy as she had imagined. What's wrong with you? Wu Lingyu asked when she saw how worried she was. Now that you've become one with the river, does that mean you can only stay here in the future, unable to leave? Can you still return to the Devil Realm? Sima Yue grabbed his clothes and asked worriedly. Wu Lingyu wanted to say that he was fine, but when he thought about how he couldn't even leave the river of forgetfulness now, wouldn't this lie be exposed soon? He hesitated for a moment, and Sima Yue understood. What the hell is going on? And what's with these two guys? You better explain it to me before I get angry. When she got angry, all the men in the room were stunned. Ming felt even more wronged. He was the one who was angry, okay? Why was it that in the end, he was the one who bowed down and apologized to her? But that was not enough. She was so angry that she did not treat him well for the next 2 days. On the other hand, she only scolded Black Shadow and Huan, who had directly carried out her orders. Of course, this was a story for later. I don't believe what you're saying. Get out, I want to talk to Lingyu alone. Sima Yue waited for Black Shadow and Huan to finish speaking before she chased the 3 of them out of the palace and set up a barrier as a gesture. Wu Lingyu saw that she did not put much effort into setting up the barrier. This barrier could be broken with just a little bit of spiritual energy. Sima Yue walked back and held his hand. Before she said anything, her eyes turned red. Don't cry, I'm really fine. Wu Lingyu's heart melted when he saw her like this. She used to be all-powerful and did well in the human world. She was so strong that she did not seem like a girl at all. She was not like today, crying so easily. Sima Yue nodded and said, I won't ask you about the process. I don't think you'll tell me the truth anyway. But you have to tell me the consequences clearly. I don't care about the past, but it will affect both of us in the future. Wu Lingyu liked her words very much. The corners of his mouth curled up. Coupled with his devilish face, Sima Yue was stunned for a moment. Her reaction made him even happier. He could not help but hug her and kiss her for a while before letting go. Right now my situation is not very good. His words made Yue's heart clench. He quickly patted her stiff body and said, I'm just saying that it's not good for our future. But for other people it's not bad. What do you mean? Sima Yue was confused. Since it's not bad, why is it not good for him? Wu Lingyu gave her a look that said, don't worry, listen to me slowly. Then he explained, since I came to the ghost world for you, naturally I will accompany you. But now I've merged with the river of forgetfulness. Merging with the river of forgetfulness. What will happen? Sima Yue looked at him nervously. I can control this river at will. And I can also get power from the river of forgetfulness. But Wu Lingyu looked at her bright eyes and sighed. He told her the truth. I can't leave it thousands of miles away. Otherwise, I won't be able to get its power. Once the power in my body is exhausted, I can only return to chaos. So you can't leave with me. Sima Yue immediately understood what he meant when he said it was not good for both of them. I'm looking for a solution. Wu Lingyu answered her indirectly. How did you merge with the river? Sima Yue was not happy. This was too ridiculous. Wu Lingyu was silent for a while, then smiled. It's nothing much, just that when I was training in the river, I was injured rather badly and my soul was almost unstable, so I found something to lodge in. I didn't expect to merge with that thing in the end. Don't tell me you merged with the Eye of the Dragon. Sima Yue looked at him in shock. Seeing him nod, she could not help but twitch her mouth. She had heard of the Eye of the Dragon in the underworld. At that time, when Ming brought her to the River of Forgetfulness, he once told her that the water of the River of Forgetfulness was not water that fell from the sky, but from the Eye of the Dragon. And this Eye of the Dragon was a product of the chaos of heaven and earth. It was very mysterious. As long as the Eye of the Dragon existed, the water of the River of Forgetfulness would not dry up. His body had merged with the Eye of the Dragon. No wonder he could merge with the River of Forgetfulness. Then you can just pick up the Eye of the Dragon and put it on your body. Wu Lingyu blinked his eyes. I've already tried this method, but the eye of the dragon is there, and I can't take it out. So I've been thinking of a way recently to see if there's any way to pick it up. Chapter 1878. In 1 second she remembered. Love divided by you? Read book web no pop-up window, free to read. Sima Yue was even more curious about the dragon's eye now. You've become one with it, why can't you move it? I'm not sure about that either. Wu Lingyu didn't know much about the ghost realm. He didn't know that there was such a thing as a dragon's eye in the river of forgetfulness. That old guy Hades must know. Sima Yue snorted. I'll ask him. She was about to get up when Wu Lingyu pulled her back, and she fell back onto his lap. Before you go find him, tell me. How do you know him and how are you so close? Wu Lingyu hugged her and didn't allow her to move. She was getting jealous. Actually, it was no wonder that Wu Lingyu was unhappy. Yue had only been in the ghost realm for a few years. How could she have such a good relationship with Hades? Judging from this situation, it was not an ordinary relationship at all. Otherwise, why would Hades listen to her accusations and apologize to her? Why would Huan and the others call her Miss? Actually, it's nothing. When I came to the ghost realm, because my soul had been to the chaotic world, I went directly to the ghost realm. At first, Hades was bored and thought that I was interesting, so he wanted to keep me in the ghost realm. Later, I stayed there for many years and became familiar with them. Later, he said that I was the miss of the ghost realm. Sima Yue explained. He didn't call you the princess of the ghost realm, but called you miss instead. What kind of mentality is this? Wu Lingyu curled his lips. Such a childish action did not seem out of place on his face at all. Sima Yue beamed as she pinched his face, saying, I'm not his daughter nor his little sister. Why would he call me princess? She just had a special identity in the ghost realm. It's because of this that I feel that he has evil intentions. Wu Lingyu snorted coldly. Tell me if not, why wouldn't he call you miss? How could an old monster like him recognize me as his sister or daughter? Isn't it normal for people to call me miss? Sima Yue rolled her eyes at him. She had to hand it to him if he could even find a problem with this. When Wu Lingyu heard her say that Ming was an old monster, her sour heart immediately calmed down. He gave her a peck on the cheek and chuckled. Yu's right. That's how it should be. Sima Yue wrinkled her nose and made a face at him. Then she got down from his body and removed the barrier. She said, Let's go and ask Ming about the eye of the dragon. However, after they went out, they didn't see Dark, only Black Shadow and Huan were counting the microorganisms in the river. How boring. Seeing the two of them come out, Black Shadow and the others were a little surprised. They blurted out. How come you're so fast? Sima Yue rolled her eyes when she saw how surprised she was. Where's Ming? Sima Yue asked Huan. He was still more mature. The king said that he came all the way here because he was afraid that you would suffer, but in the end, he was locked outside by you. He felt depressed, so he went outside to relax. Huan said with a smile. Sima Yue looked at the smile in Huan's eyes and knew what was going on. She whispered, How old is he? He's still throwing a tantrum. I'm still angry. If he wants to go out for a walk, then let him go out for a walk. Everyone. Sima Yue took Wu Lingyu's hand and said, Lingyu, you haven't eaten anything I made for a long time, right? Why don't we go to the shore and I'll make something for you to eat? Wu Lingyu looked at her smiling eyes and knew what she was thinking. He nodded and said, Okay, counting the years when I was there, I haven't eaten your food for decades. I just want to eat it. Then let's go ashore. Sima Yue took his hand and swam to the shore. Oh, miss, I'll help you. After saying that, the Black Shadow also swam up. As for Huan, needless to say, he was already in front of the Black Shadow. The place where they went up was called the Mysterious Area. No one dared to come here. But for Sima Yue and the others, this place was no different from any other place. While Sima Yue was cooking, Wu Lingyu was still watching from the side as usual. The two of them talked about something and laughed from time to time. The laughter that came from the bottom of their hearts made Huan and the Black Shadow feel emotional. So this is what Miss looks like when she smiles sincerely. The Black Shadow looked at Sima Yue and sighed. So, Miss has been unhappy all these years. Huan glanced at him faintly. He didn't expect this guy to still be able to understand this. Miss has naturally been unhappy all these years. Her mother was not rescued, and she was working hard alone in the ghost realm. She had no relatives around her and few friends. It wasn't easy to find one or two people to talk to, but those things happened. After following Miss all these years, I can really understand the bitterness of Miss. Huan felt pity for Sima Yue in his heart, but other than protecting her safety, there was nothing he could do to help. There was no way to make her truly happy from the bottom of her heart. Thinking of this, he felt that Wu Lingyu was more pleasing to the eye. At least his existence could make her happy from the bottom of her heart. Alas, this is the person that Miss has placed at the top of her heart. The black shadow looked at Wu Lingyu enviously and felt a little lost in his heart. Okay, we're different from him. Don't think so much. Huan patted him on the shoulder. I'm just sad for Mississippi, the black shadow said. Why don't you think the king helped Miss save her mother? Have you forgotten the rules of the underworld? The underworld can't intervene in the affairs of the ghost realm. Huan scolded. Didn't you destroy the Dong family? The black shadow protested in a low voice. Is that the same? That's bullying our young Miss Head. I'm upholding the dignity of the underworld. Huan argued. Then isn't this the same thing? The black shadow didn't feel any difference. The king has investigated it. The matter of suppressing Mrs. Mother involved a lot of things in the ghost realm. If we were to come forward from the beginning, it would bring a lot of trouble, Huan said. So the king is planning to wait for Miss to save her mother before making a move? The black shadow, who had always been relatively inflexible, actually grasped the key point at once, causing Huan to look at him in a new light. It's hard for you to think of this, Huan said. If we make a move first, it's our business to intervene in the ghost realm. If they dare to bully Miss, it's a slap in the face of the underworld. In this way, we naturally have to protect our Miss. Ha, that's good. The black shadow suddenly laughed, causing Sima Yue and Wu Lingyu to look over. He quickly restrained himself. Besides, the king has always been so bored. Let him watch Miss grow up. It can be considered as giving him something to do. If we directly rescue Mrs. Mother, the king will probably be bored again. Huan added. The black shadow's mouth twitched. Why did he feel that what Huan said was the real reason? Chapter 1879. In 1 second, she remembered, Love Divided by You? Read book web, no pop-up windows, free to read. When Ming came over, Sima Yue had finished cooking and everyone was ready to eat. When Huan and Black Shadow saw him, they immediately stood up and bowed. However, Sima Yue and Wu Lingyu sat on the ground and did not move. When Ming saw her attitude, he was angry, but when she glared at him, he felt guilty. This matter. Although he was indeed in the wrong, she didn't need to give him a hard time now, right? Sima Yue did not speak, and Ming stood there and did not come over. Black Shadow and Huan naturally did not dare to sit down and eat. Just like that, everyone froze. Then Wu Lingyu sighed and said, Yue made some food just now. Would Ming Wang like to do me the honor of joining us? Yue made more food and she even prepared some good wine. When Ming saw that Sima Yue did not say anything, he nodded and sat opposite Sima Yue. Black Shadow immediately poured wine for him. King, this is the kind of wine that Miss mentioned before. It tastes really good, try it. Black Shadow said eagerly. You know that it tastes good? So you've already drunk it? Ming glanced at him, and his body immediately froze. The corner of his mouth twitched, and he put on an envious expression. I want to, but I'm not with Miss. If anyone drank it, it was Huan who drank it. When I opened the wine jar just now, I smelled it. I thought you wanted to go back to the hut. Ming snorted. Black Shadow's body froze again. King knew about this. Ooh, it's over. Looking at King's expression, it seemed like he was going to settle the score. After Ming finished speaking, he did not pay attention to him anymore. He picked up the wine cup and tasted it. Indeed, it tasted good. Sima Yue did not care about him and started eating with Wu Lingyu. When Black Shadow and Huan saw that both of them had moved, they began to feast on the delicacies in front of them. The Netherworld King was very depressed throughout the meal. He glared hatefully at a certain someone who was smiling and picking food for Wu Lingyu. The prawn meat in his mouth, which was his favorite, was tasteless. This woman had him completely under her thumb. Was she not afraid that if he was really angry, no one in this world would be able to protect her? But she wasn't afraid. She knew that he wouldn't. But he really wouldn't punish her. He couldn't even bear to see her suffer any grievances. As for Wu Lingyu's matter, he did not want her to see him, so he asked someone to make things difficult for him. However, the real reason was to increase his strength so that he would have the power to protect her. He was so kind, yet she was still angry with him. He felt so wronged and unreasonable. His heart felt so stifled. But why? Why couldn't he harden his heart and punish her? He had thought about this question more than once, but he couldn't come up with an answer. He used to think that he had fallen in love with her, but he repeatedly confirmed that it wasn't the feeling of love. He also used to think that he treated her as a family member, but he didn't have a family member himself, so how could he have such a feeling? So it wasn't love either. He seemed to dote on her very much. He liked to see her cause all kinds of trouble, even if it was to clean up after her. It was as if he was happy to go along with her. It seemed that a long time ago, he had felt this way about something, but it had been too long and he had forgotten what it was. That's not right. He even remembered the color of the pants he wore when he was young, so how could he not remember what it was? Whether it was a person, an object, or a beast, he had no impression of it at all. What was it? How could he not remember? Sima Yue looked at him in a daze as he stared at the food, as if he had fallen into deep thought and couldn't come out. She sighed in her heart, and then said, "By the way, Huan, Black Shadow, you have all stayed in the underworld for so long, so you should know more about the River of Forgetfulness, right?" Huan and Black Shadow both noticed that their king was in a daze, thinking about his awkward thoughts, and were thinking about what to do when they heard Sima Yue's question. "I know about the River of Forgetfulness. Why are you asking this?" Black Shadow replied. "Then do you know about the Eye of the Dragon?" Sima Yue asked again. Although she was asking Black Shadow, her attention was focused on Dark, so when she saw him looking over, she pretended not to care and looked to the side, the corners of her mouth rising. Both Black Shadow and Huan were stunned by her question. They were all clear about the matter of Wu Lingyu and the River of Forgetfulness merging into one, so they naturally knew the purpose of her question. But how could they have heard of that thing? They had never come into contact with it, so they didn't know anything about it. Otherwise, why could Black Shadow only watch as Wu Lingyu and the Eye of the Dragon merged into one? That Eye of the Dragon. "Miss, we really don't know anything about it. You have to ask the king about it." Huan also found a way out for Dark. When Dark heard Huan say this, he thought that this guy was still reliable. That guy, Black Shadow, should still be sent back to his small hut. He stared at Sima Yue, and if she didn't speak first he wouldn't speak. Although Sima Yue and Dark had only been together for a few years, she could be considered to have a thorough understanding of his temperament. She snorted and said, "Dark, you are the king of the underworld, so you should know everything. What is the origin of this Eye of the Dragon? It actually prevents the domain from going beyond 10,000 miles. When Dark saw that she spoke first, his expression returned to normal. He snorted and said, "You have been in the underworld for so many years, so you still don't know anything about the underworld. I took you to so many places in the past, but it was all in vain." Sima Yue wanted to say that he didn't take her to the River of Forgetfulness at all. So how could she know what the Eye of the Dragon was? But thinking that he was the only one who knew about this matter, she swallowed it back. This Eye of the Dragon is something that was born in the chaos at the beginning of heaven and earth. It has been there since the separation of heaven and earth. It is the root of the River of Forgetfulness's existence. Since it has already merged with his soul, it naturally can't leave. Dark said faintly, and there was no lack of schadenfreude in his words. "Who asked you to be angry with me? Who asked you to throw a tantrum with me because of a man? Humph, now you are anxious." Sima Yue knew what he was thinking when she heard his words, and she rolled her eyes helplessly. "Lingyu, since you can't leave the Eye of the Dragon, then let's take it away. This way you won't be far away from it." Sima Yue thought that this was a good idea and planned to take a look at the eye of the dragon in a while. Wu Lingyu wanted to remind her that he had told her before that the eye of the dragon couldn't be moved. But with her temperament, she wouldn't forget that there should be another purpose for saying this. Wu Lingyu should have already tried, right? This eye of the dragon can't be moved at all, so what's the use of you going? Dark stared at her, wanting to see her disappointed expression, but he saw her staring at him with bright eyes. Chapter 1880. In 1 second, she remembered, Love Divided by You? Read Book Web Quick Update. No pop-up window, free to read. Sima Yue looked at Ming and finally revealed a smile. Ming, you should have a way, right? I have no way, Ming said. Seeing that no one believed him, he said seriously, I'm telling the truth. That dragon eye is very strange. Even I can't do anything about it. Then why did you let Lingyu? Sima Yue was really angry this time. He knew that there was no way, but he still let him fuse with the dragon eye? Miss, this is all my fault. If I hadn't been delayed and arrived late, he wouldn't have been forced into the situation of fusing with the dragon eye. Black Shadow blamed himself and said, Punish me. This matter has nothing to do with the king. He ordered me to protect Lingyu with my life. Sima Yue's eyes were red and she wanted to cry, but there were no tears. She only felt that her eyes were very dry. She had never thought about the matter of Wu Lingyu fusing with the dragon eye. But now that it was mentioned again, her heart hurt as if it was pierced by needles. His fighting power was forced to the point where his body and soul were about to dissipate. How serious was the situation at that time? How serious was his injury? All right, didn't you say that you don't want to think about the past? Wu Lingyu really wanted to hug her and give her a deep kiss so that she wouldn't have the mood to think about it. But now that there were people around, he could only coax her softly. The other three were also frightened by her appearance. They had almost never seen her like this. Even if she was angry before, it was like a child throwing a tantrum. But now she wasn't angry. Instead, she was sorrowful from the bottom of her heart. You've been used to being free in your 2 lives. Staying in the stone for hundreds of thousands of years was already enough for you. Now that you're trapped in this place, no, I will definitely think of a way to restore your freedom. Thinking that Wu Lingyu would be trapped here for the rest of his life, she couldn't control her body and trembled. Wu Lingyu held her hand and said, Let's think of a way together. He didn't plan to be trapped here for the rest of his life. Even if Ming Wang and the others couldn't do anything, he had to find a way. If he resigned himself to fate, she would feel even worse. Moreover, neither of them were people who would resign themselves to fate. Sima Yue held his hand and nodded her head heavily. You think of a way? What can you think of? That fellow is stubborn, and it's useless no matter what we do. Ming grunted coldly and poured cold water on them. Just because you don't have a solution doesn't mean that others don't have a solution. Sima Yue was really angry at him. She didn't tease him like before. Miss, the king went to find the dragon eye before. The Black Shadow defended Ming. Although they did not do a good job in this matter, Miss should calm down and not accuse the king. Sima Yue did not expect that Dark had personally dealt with it. Hearing the Black Shadow's words, the anger in her heart subsided. All right, let's not talk about this for now. Ming, is there really no other way? Sima Yue asked. Even if it's some unorthodox method. I don't have a way, but now that you mention it, I remember a legend I've heard before. Thinking of that legend, Ming frowned slightly. What's wrong? What's that legend? Sima Yue had never seen him frown before. Speaking of which, this was the first time. It said that the dragon eye came from the chaos of heaven and earth. To solve this, it's most likely related to the chaos. Ming said, but I'm afraid it's not easy to deal with the chaos. Why is it not easy? The chaos world is said to be a world, but it doesn't seem to have anything. Ming said, even I haven't been to the chaos world before. You haven't been to the chaos world? Sima Yue was shocked. Didn't you say that I have the aura of the chaos world when you first saw me? How did you know if you haven't been there? I really wanted to go in the past, but I was restrained at that time. I secretly tried a few times, but I couldn't cross the border of the chaos world. Ming said. Then I had a burden on me, so I didn't go. It's rare that someone could restrain you. Also, I don't think you're the kind of person who would give up on your curiosity because of a burden. Is there anything else? Sima Yue knew him very well. Ming knew that he couldn't escape her eyes, so he snorted. When I was the king of hell, I was forced to swear that I wouldn't go there. Are there people living there like the underworld? No. It's not suitable for living creatures to live there. But people who go there can't come out. So no one knows what it's like there. Ming said. I didn't expect you to be able to come out. I couldn't come out at that time either. It was Mo Sha who went in and brought me out. Sima Yue said. After that, Mo Sha and Ling Yu's souls fused. I think it's because of this that only I came to the underworld directly, while Ling Yu went to the ghost world. Ming and Huan looked at Wu Ling Yu in a higher light. He was actually willing to go to the chaos world to bring her out. This temperament, strength, and attitude were all qualified. You said that the solution to the Dragon Ball is related to the chaos world. What kind of legend is that? Tell me more clearly. Sima Yue said. It's said that only the chaos chi can move the Dragon Ball. Ming said. I think that the reason why he could fuse with the Dragon Eye is because your soul power has some of the chaos world's aura. Otherwise, there are many people who want it. How could you be the only one who fused with it? Very likely. Sima Yue nodded. Hurry up and eat. After we finish eating, we'll go and meet the Dragon Eye. Okay. Alright. Sima Yue remembered her original purpose of coming here and asked Wu Lingyu. Since you're so familiar with this place, do you know about the treasure? Treasure? Wu Lingyu was stunned. What treasure? Why didn't I hear about it? As he said that, he also looked up at the black shadow. Ahem, you don't care about the news on the shore, so naturally you don't know about it. The black shadow said. In fact, this matter is also because of you. You went to the bottom of the river from time to time to find trouble with those river beasts, and then leak some of your aura from time to time. And then those people thought that a treasure was about to be born. Sima Yue blinked. It was actually him who made the noise? It's actually such a big mistake. My treasure, it turned into a bubble just like that. She was depressed. It turned out that she was looking forward to nothing. She now understood why she always wanted to come here, and why she always felt that she would regret it for the rest of her life if she didn't come. With him here, if she didn't come, she would regret it. At this moment, the Sun Mother stone in her space ring reacted. Seeing that emoji was contacting her, she remembered that she hadn't given him any news for so long. He must be worried. Plus, there was no treasure, so she decided to go back before looking for the Dragon Eye. Chapter 1881. In 1 second, she remembered. Love divided by you? Read book net no pop-up window free to read. Sima Yue brought Ming and Wu Lingyu back to the camp. Emoji was a little surprised when he saw 2 more people. And then he saw Sima Yue and Wu Lingyu holding hands together. And his eyes almost popped out. Emoji, let me introduce you, this is Lingyu. Lingyu, this is Emoji I told you about. Sima Yue introduced the 2. Wu Lingyu knew Emoji, but this was the first time Emoji knew him. He cupped his hands towards Emoji and said, I heard from Yue that she was in the ghost realm these days. Fortunately, you guys took care of her. Lingyu is very grateful. Emoji immediately heard the tone of sovereignty in his words. Looking at the smile that had never appeared on Yue's face, and the feeling of a little bird that was inadvertently revealed, he finally understood the identity of Wu Lingyu. However, he was a little curious. How did this girl go down the river and bring back another person? As for this, he is my friend and he passed by here. Sima Yue vaguely introduced Ming, and Emoji saw that Ming was putting on airs and didn't seem to have any intention of befriending him. So he also cupped his hands. Then he turned to look at Sima Yue and said, You went down for so long and there was no news. If I couldn't contact you again, I would have taken people down. After going down, I met Lingyu and the others, so I was delayed for 2 days. Sima Yue explained. Have you found the vapor beast? Emoji asked. I've killed it, you can rest assured in the future. Sima Yue said. That's good. Because the vapor beast could be invisible, They have been a little worried recently, afraid that that guy would come up again. Now that he heard her say so, he was relieved. By the way, emoji, when I went underwater, I checked by the way. There was no treasure to be born in the river at all. Those unusual auras were actually from someone fighting at the bottom of the river. Therefore the Emo family can leave now, Sima Yue said. Emoji was stunned for a moment. He lowered his eyes and thought for a few seconds. Then he nodded and replied, I see. I'll let them prepare to go back. Speaking of which, they've been here for a long time. It's time for them to go back. In his opinion, either she was telling the truth and there was no treasure below, or she had already obtained the treasure. Even if it was the second kind, he would not snatch the treasure, so he can let the people of the Mo clan go back. That's good. Be careful when you go back. I still have things to do, so I can't leave with you. Goodbye. Sima Yue was a little worried about the safety of Emoji and the others. She heard from the guy who was wandering around all day that the ghost realm had not been peaceful recently. You're not coming back with us? Where are you going? After Emoji asked, he felt that he seemed to be a little abrupt. Sima Yue said that she was going to do something at this time. It was estimated that she was going with these people. It was a little inappropriate for him to ask in person. However, he was still a little worried about her. Although there were people following her, he was still worried. So he explained, the ancestor asked me to protect you. Wherever you go, I naturally have to go. Where I'm going, ordinary people can't go. Don't worry, they will protect me. Don't worry, I will tell your ancestor that he won't punish you. Sima Yue politely refused her. When Emoji saw that she had said so, he knew that if he asked again he would be shameless. Well, if you need anything, remember to contact me. I know. Sima Yue nodded at him, indicating that she had heard it. If there was anything, she would definitely look for him. After Emoji talked to her for a while, he went to tell Emojan to pack up and leave. Although Emojan was very surprised, he still obediently asked the Mo clan to pack up and leave. Moreover, many people saw them when they left. At first, they were very curious. Later, some people who had a good relationship with them went up and asked them, only to know that they went back because there was no treasure here at all. No treasure? Then wouldn't all their time be in vain? However, the Mo clan has always been unique in treasure hunting, and their sense of smell for treasures was much more sensitive than that of ordinary people. Many times, they were even used as a wind vane by the people of the ghost realm. Therefore, most people believed the news they spread. After staying for a while, they found that there was indeed no movement of treasures, and they all chose to leave. But there were also a small number of people who did not believe their words, and chose to continue to stay here. However, after staying for a long time, they did not find out anything. On the contrary, the previous abnormal movement did not come out again, and the entire Nirvana River seemed to be silent. At this time, they believed that there was indeed no treasure here. And it has been a year or two since Emoji and the others left. Sima Yue didn't care about other people's choices at all. After saying goodbye to Emoji, she wanted to go directly to the Dragon Eye, but she was pulled back to the Water Palace by Wu Lingyu. When Wu Lingyu piled up a room full of boxes to her, Sima Yue was still a little stunned listening to his words. You snatched a part of the river beast's force? She twitched the corner of her mouth. Was this the aura of the treasure that the people outside felt? He had fused with the Dragon Eye. As long as he made a move, there would indeed be an unusual aura. It was no wonder that the people outside would misunderstand. Wu Lingyu was not satisfied with her description, and corrected her. This is not snatching, it is filial piety to me. These things are very useful for your current cultivation. After coming here, he had been thinking about what kind of gift to prepare for her. In the end, he felt that this was the best, and by the way, he could also practice his combat effectiveness, so he took action. Now that he thought about it, it did seem a little naive. Actually, you don't have to do these for me. I have the underworld power of the ancestor in my body. As long as my body can keep up, the seal can be lifted. So my cultivation is still very fast. Sima Yue said. Wu Lingyu's heart was lost for a moment. After coming to the ghost realm, his power weakened a lot, and he did not contact the people here. Now even a gift was not good enough. At this moment, there was a soft touch on his face, and she whispered softly, "Even so, I still like it very much. I like the gift you prepared for me very much." He looked sideways slightly and saw her satisfied smile. What she cared about was not how many good things he could give her, but his feelings for her. When he was waiting for her here alone, he would still spend time preparing gifts for her. Regardless of whether these things were useful to her or not, his heart made her feel very warm. She put her hands on his shoulders, and the two looked at each other, their eyes full of tenderness. "Lingyu, it's so good to have you in the ghost realm." Chapter 1882. In 1 second, she remembered. Love divided by you? Read book web quick update. No pop-up window. Free to read. The eye of the dragon was in the river of forgetfulness. It was not conspicuous usually, and many river beasts swam around here, but it did not make a difference. The eye of the dragon was buried in the sand. If it was not a coincidence, Wu Lingyu would not have found it, and survived by borrowing the pagoda. Sima Yuyue kept all the boxes, then followed Wu Lingyu to the place where the eye of the dragon was. Ming and the others had already arrived and cleared the surrounding river beasts. A milky white pearl with a diameter of 1 zhang was casually placed in a pile of corals. It was covered with moss and was not conspicuous at all. This is the eye of the dragon? The root of the river of forgetfulness? Sima Yue squatted in front of the eye of the dragon, sizing up the huge pearl. Perhaps it was because Wu Lingyu's soul had fused with it, so she felt a familiar aura from the pearl. It was somewhat intimate. However, if she felt it carefully, she would realize that the familiar feeling was not just Wu Lingyu's aura. She reached out to push the eye of the dragon, which seemed to have been placed there casually. She used half of her strength, but could not make it sway at all. "You don't have to try. Even I can't move it," Ming said from the side. "Miss, why don't you let us try?" The people present were not weak, and their strength was great when they worked together. "Okay." She glanced at Ming, and the latter came over reluctantly. She muttered, "I really owe you. That's why I'm doing such a degrading thing with you." Sima Yue smiled and did not refute. The 5 of them used their strength together, but the eye of the dragon still did not move. This eye of the dragon is indeed strange. Sima Yue touched her chin thoughtfully. "I've already told you. Brute force is useless against it." Ming said, "Why don't you try using the chaotic aura in your body?" "Chaotic aura?" Sima Yue was surprised. "You came back from the primal chaos world, so your soul is naturally stained with primal chaos chi, which is the aura that your body is hiding," Ming explained patiently. Sima Yue blinked and obediently released her aura. The dragon's eye, which had not reacted before, actually began to emit a faint light. Seeing this, she put her hand on the dragon's eye and pushed hard. The dragon's eye finally shook slightly. If it weren't for the fact that everyone present was at the peak of their strength, they probably wouldn't have felt the slightest tremor. However, she soon found that she didn't have enough strength. Her body was a little weak, and the extent of her shaking was even greater than the dragon eyes. Wu Lingyu noticed that something was wrong with her. She quickly supported her and pulled her hand away from the longan. Only then did Sima Yue feel that the loss of energy in her body had disappeared. And from the moment she bumped into longan to the moment Wu Lingyu pulled her down, it was only a matter of a few seconds. If not for Wu Lingyu's quick reaction, Sima Yue's energy would have been sucked dry. "Young miss, how are you feeling?" Black Shadow asked with concern. They didn't expect that the dragon's eye would have such a big reaction after coming into contact with the chaotic aura. If not for the connection between Wu Lingyu and the dragon's eye, which allowed him to sense this and save her in time, her foundation would have been injured. Ming saw Yue's pale face and for the first time, he was annoyed by his own words. If he hadn't asked her to test the chaotic aura, this wouldn't have happened. Wu Lingyu hugged Sima Yue and blamed himself. Sima Yue saw that they were all looking at her nervously. She smiled at them and said, "I'm fine. Do you feel uncomfortable anywhere? If you have something to say, you have to say it." Wu Lingyu said gently, "I'm fine. I just feel a little dizzy and my body is a little weak. My heart is a little flustered, and I don't want to stay here anymore." Sima Yue said that she didn't feel well. Then let's go out first. Wu Lingyu hugged her and disappeared from the bottom of the river. Soon after, they appeared on the riverbank. Then Ming also came out with Huan and Black Shadow. Ming went up, grabbed her hand and checked it. He breathed a sigh of relief and said, "It's okay. You just used up all of your strength. You'll be fine after resting for a while." Sima Yue nodded. She knew that the power Ming said was not the spiritual power in her body, but the power of her former soul and current body. How long do you need to rest? She wanted to solve the matter with Wu Lingyu as soon as possible, and then go to the imperial capital to ask the Ghost King the truth of what happened that year. If he could tell her about her mother's matter, she would consider whether to accept him or not. If he didn't want to, then she would no longer think of him as her grandfather, and would find another way to find her mother. At that time, the matter was so big that even Mou was present at that time. Even if he didn't know where her mother was suppressed, how could he not find it? It'll take a long time. You won't be able to recover without 3 to 5 months. Ming said faintly. So long? Of course. What do you think your situation is? Do you know that your energy was almost sucked dry? Ming suddenly stopped reprimanding her. To be honest, it was because of what he said that she was like this. Thinking of this, he lowered his voice and said, "You have to rest well. I'll go back and think of a way for you." Okay. Sima Yue nodded. Everyone saw the reaction of the Eye of the Dragon just now. Maybe they could think of a way if they followed this path. Take good care of her. Don't do anything stupid before her body recovers. Hades reminded Wu Lingyu before he tore open the space and left. He didn't say that he was going to bring Black Shadow and Huan, and the two of them were happy not to ask. They said that they were going to stay and protect Yue. I didn't expect the Eye of the Dragon to be so powerful. She was only in contact with it for a while, and Miss was injured so badly. Black Shadow looked at Sima Yue. Is there any pill that can help you recover? Sima Yue shook her head slightly. Her body's energy was sucked away. It was not an ordinary injury. Ordinary pills were useless, and she didn't prepare any rare pills. Then, miss, is there anything that can help you recover? If there is, Black Shadow and I will go and find it. Huan said. After he reminded her, Sima Yue's eyes lit up and she smiled weakly. No need, I've already found it. After saying that, she moved her mind and brought everyone into the spirit pagoda. Little Spirit already knew what she meant, and brought them to the Tree of Souls. Elder Bai, sorry to disturb you. Sima Yue bowed to Elder Bai. How did you get hurt so badly? Come under me. Old Bai shook his head, and the leaves rustled. The fragrance that wafted into the air made Huan and Black Shadow, who were following them, feel comfortable all over. Wu Lingyu carried Sima Yue over, and put her under the tree, letting her rest against the trunk. Elder Bai noticed him and said in surprise, this soul is so strange. Chapter 1883. In 1 second, she remembered, Love Divided by You? Read book web no pop-up window, free to read. Sima Yue's eyes that were about to close opened again. Strange? Elder Bai, you said that Lingyu's soul is strange? How is it strange? With the power released by Elder Bai, she felt that her body was much better, and the heavy feeling was much more relaxed. His soul has fused again, right? Elder Bai said. When it fused back then, it wasn't very good. But later on, it was repaired with divine medicine. But when Sima Yue heard him say this, she was completely energized. Of course, it was because she was scared awake. Elder Bai, what's wrong with his soul? Elder Bai was known as the Tree of Souls, and he was very sensitive to souls. Seeing him like this, her heart was in her mouth. There is indeed a problem, but it's not too big. And it has already been repaired. Elder Bai said. Elder Bai, please enlighten me. She sat up straight and looked at Elder Bai pleadingly. The soul was very important to a person, and if there was even the slightest problem with the soul, it would affect a person's cultivation. Not to mention someone like him who had his soul fused and his soul automatically left his body. His soul has fused with something, but you don't have to worry about it. That thing is repairing his soul bit by bit. Elder Bai saw that she was so worried and comforted her. That thing is repairing his soul. Sima Yue was a little surprised. That thing is imprisoning his soul, and he can't leave this place. I actually want to find a way to separate him from that thing. Elder Bai, you are very sensitive to souls. Can you show me a way? No. Elder Bai rejected her idea. Although his soul is very strong, it is actually very weak. If you separate him from that thing, he might end up in a state where his body and soul are unable to fuse. Sima Yue was shocked by Elder Bai's words, and was secretly glad that she didn't do that, or it would be too late to regret it. But he would have to return to his body in the future. Then what about the dragon eye? Senior Bai didn't know what she was thinking and continued. Not only can you not separate them, but you also have to find a way to nourish that thing. As long as it is well, his soul will be well. In that case, if he wants to return to his body, will he be affected? Her question surprised Elder Bai, and he didn't answer her immediately. After a moment of silence, he said, the thing he fused with won't affect him or his body. However, if he used a secret technique to leave his body, he could also use a secret technique to return to his body. If not, he would have to find something that could stabilize his soul. However, using the secret technique is very harmful to the soul. Even if you can return safely, you will have to recuperate for several hundred years. When Sima Yue found out that he used a secret method to come to the world of spirits and souls, she knew that there was a price to pay for using the secret method. Thinking of all that he had done for her, she felt both happy and distressed. Bai Lao saw that she was a little dazed, so he changed the topic. You don't have to be so worried. If it was someone else, it would naturally be like this. However, he is lucky to have met me, and I want to repay you. When the time comes, just give him some essence and he will be fine. It's that simple? Sima Yue was a little surprised. Didn't it sound like a very serious matter? Is it so easy to get my essence? If it wasn't for the chance that it came to you, I'm afraid you won't be able to walk this path for the rest of your life. Easy. Bai Lao was so angry by her words that he hung a branch from the trunk and poked her head like a human. Bai Lao had been recuperating in the spirit pagoda for so long, and he had recovered quite well. He could barely be considered to be flourishing. Sima Yue stretched out her hand to touch the leaf and said fawningly, if I hadn't taken Old White's essence in advance, my soul might have been destroyed in the explosion. How could I have waited for Old Ancestor to condense my soul? Therefore, meeting Bai Lao is the luckiest thing in my life. It's good that you know. Then I have to thank Bai Lao for Ling Yu's matter. Bai Lao. He felt that he had been tricked by this little girl. Compared to Qing Yi, Bai Lao was more useful to the people of the three realms. Because Qing Yi's essence was more useful to the human race and the Mo race, it was the nemesis of the ghost race. It was too late for the ghost race to avoid it. You little girl, you should take good care of your soul here. Once your soul is well, you will be stronger when you return to your body in the future. Bai Lao was tricked and was not happy. He fell silent and looked no different from an ordinary tree. At this time, the three people who had been silent at the side turned their attention to Sima Yue. However, seeing her pale face, they didn't have the nerve to ask her again. However, from their conversation, this tree seemed to be very awesome. What was its origin? Sima Yue looked at their burning gazes and smiled, saying, Bai Lao, the divine tree is the tree of souls. The aura it releases is very useful for the soul. I can recuperate here, and it's twice the result with half the effort outside. This is the tree of souls? I thought it was just a legend. Black Shadow looked at Bai Lao excitedly. Miss, can I stay here for a while? If you are rude, Bai Lao will throw you out. After she finished speaking, she closed her eyes and began to recuperate. She said that she agreed. Black Shadow was so happy that he couldn't find north and wandered around Bai Lao. Wu Lingyu went to Yoyue's old alchemy room and asked Little Spirit to get some herbs. He locked himself in the alchemy room for 3 days and 3 nights. After coming out, he went to find Sima Yue and gave her the pills. Little Seven and the others came out of the alchemy room and looked at Wu Lingyu's back. They muttered, My goodness, he is even more powerful now. That's right. In the past, he only had spiritual power and magic power. Now he even has underworld power. In the three realms, I'm afraid only he is so powerful, Ye Guang said with admiration. Really awesome. Yu Yu is still the most powerful. No matter how powerful he is, he still has to bow down to Yu Yu. Little Seven snorted. That's right, Yu Yu is still the most powerful. Ha ha ha. Sima Yu Yu's body recovered very quickly under Bai Lao's nourishment. She originally said that she would need half a year, but she recovered in about a month. On this day, she pulled Wu Lingyu for a walk by the river. She thought of the rope and took it out to bind it with her blood. Looking at the rope binding Wu Lingyu under her control, she laughed mischievously. How does this feel? Can you break free? You'll know when you try. Wu Lingyu raised his eyebrows at her. I'm not that stupid to tie myself up. Sima Yue raised her chin and walked towards him. She didn't notice the stone under her feet, and her whole body fell towards him. The two of them fell to the ground together. Chapter 1884. In 1 second she remembered, Love Divided by You? Read book web, no pop-up windows, free to read. They did not fall onto the ground as expected. The moment they fell, a soft cushion appeared below and caught the two of them. Wu Lingyu was below and Sima Yue was lying on top of him. Seeing his smiling eyes, she understood what he meant and her face turned red. So it turns out that Yu Yu likes this kind of heavy taste. The corners of his mouth curled up as he glanced at himself. Sima Yue's face turned even redder. Wu Lingyu was unable to move because of her help and now she was on top of him. At first glance, it did seem a little. However, seeing his teasing eyes, she calmed down and was not in a hurry to get up. She placed her hands on his chest and looked at him with a smile. Wu Lingyu's body was about to melt under her gaze, especially when he saw her slowly moving closer to him. Her delicate face was getting closer and closer, and her seductive red lips were getting closer and closer to him. Thump! Thump! At this moment he seemed to hear the sound of his own heartbeat. He actually became nervous. Closer. Closer. The soft touch was like a feather brushing past him. Wu Lingyu felt his heart being lifted. However, before he could savor the taste, the feeling disappeared again. Sima Yue saw the faint disappointment in his eyes and laughed while lying on top of him. She did not say anything and just stared at him. Wu Lingyu's heart was fluttering under her stare. He wanted to reach out and hug her, but his hands were tied. Yue. His low and hoarse voice was full of temptation and desire. Weren't you laughing at me just now? Sima Yue touched her hair and teased his face. He had already endured for hundreds of years. In the past it was fine if she teased him subconsciously, but now, she was openly teasing him. It was simply asking for his life. A single look, a single word, and a single action from her made him unable to breathe. I was wrong, Yue. Don't punish me. He apologized sincerely, but his words were full of burning desire. Sima Yue felt a little uncomfortable under his burning gaze. She suddenly regretted seducing him. Seeing him staring straight at her, she smiled seductively and kissed him hard. After a round of entanglement, they almost had sex. At the last step, a certain someone managed to restrain himself. This made Sima Yue rather surprised. Seeing his pain, Sima Yue wrapped her arms around his neck and buried herself in his neck. She whispered, "If it's okay." For her, he gave up his life and came to the world of spirits and souls. After going through so much, the two of them finally got together. She had already set her mind on him. The etiquette of the Duke of Zhou was the same sooner or later. Wu Lingyu's hands were already free. He tightened his arms around her and took a deep breath. Then he kissed her forehead and said, "Although there's no difference between the two of us, I still want to wait until after we're married. That way my parents-in-law will be even happier." All parents naturally didn't want their children to have sex before they were married. He thought this way not only because he respected her, but also because he respected her parents. "After we've settled your matter, we'll go and save mother. Anyway, father is here. With the two of them, we can get married." Sima Yue replied, "It seems like I'm not the only one who's anxious to take advantage of you." Wu Lingyu chuckled. "After we save mother-in-law, we'll get married." Sima Yue was teased by him again. She reached out to poke the flesh on his waist, but he held her hand back. Then he started to do it again. After a long time, when the evil fire in their bodies dissipated, they lay on the soft bed and chatted. They talked about the magical weapon that tied Wu Lingyu up. Immortal binding rope. It'll be called this in the future. Sima Yue played with the rope. She liked it very much. She actually knew that Wu Lingyu was tied up by her on purpose. However, neither of them expected that they would almost be unable to free themselves in the end. However, this thing was still very useful to deal with others. Oh right, can you still refine weapons now? She suddenly sat up and looked at him with a frown. That depends on the situation. If it's too powerful, I'm now. In the past, it wasn't a problem for him to refine a magical weapon. However, now that he had abandoned his body and came to the ghost realm, he couldn't be like before. At least, he couldn't for the time being. Sima Yue told him about Little Spirit finding a spatial magical weapon to repair the spirit pagoda. She also told him that this could bring Thousand Resonance and Little Roar to the ghost realm. She originally wanted to wait for herself to grow up and do it on her own. She didn't trust anyone else. However, now that she had him, it was different. Let me see the item. Wu Lingyu sat up. Sima Yue took out the pocket universal box and passed it to him. Wu Lingyu looked at it and said, "It shouldn't be a problem. However, it might take some time. I'll study it for 2 days first." All right. Sima Yue handed the item to him and let him arrange it. Wu Lingyu knew that she missed Little Roar and the rest. After receiving the pocket universal box, he began to study it. 2 days later, he began to fuse it with the spirit pagoda. It wasn't the first time that he fused a magical weapon with Little Spirit. The last time was when he was in the Yilin continent. He fused the 7-layered pagoda with Little Spirit, who was still a spirit stone, and formed the current spirit pagoda. However, the last time he was still connected to Sima Yue, he was still connected to the spirit stone. Therefore, it was easier to control the fusion last time. However, at that time, he didn't recover much of his strength. Now his strength was much stronger than before. Therefore, although the process this time was more troublesome, it was still completed smoothly. This time, not only was Little Spirit completely repaired, its grade was also better. Sima Yue saw Wu Lingyu smiling at her, and knew that this matter was done. However, what they didn't know was that when Little Spirit completely recovered, there was also movement in the human realm. When the Sima family saw the golden light emitted from the back mountain, everyone in the residence was shocked. Thinking that it was the direction where Sima Yue was, everyone flew in that direction. Seeing Sima Qing standing in front of the cave and staring at the golden light in a daze, Sima Ji Yuan and the rest asked excitedly, "Old ancestor, is Yue?" Sima Qing shook his head. She didn't wake up. It was the light that suddenly emitted from her body. "What is that?" "I don't know. But it must be related to her." Sima Qing murmured. "Maybe it's because she did something over there. Then is she coming back?" No one could answer the last question. They couldn't go to the ghost realm and couldn't bring her back, so they could only pray that she would come back soon. Originally, after so many years, many people in the continent had almost forgotten that there was such an all-powerful woman. Only those who were present at that time, and those who were related to her remembered her, and kept sending her the elixirs she needed. Today, the golden light from the Sima family made her the focus of everyone again. Everyone was guessing whether she was coming back. Chapter 1885. In 1 second, she remembered, "Love divided by you?" Read book web quick update. No pop-up window, free to read. Little Helper stood at the peak of the mountain, and the many-years-old pine tree on the mountain peak were one person and one shadow. A child came behind Little Helper, bowed and said, "Sovereign, I just received news that there are movements from the Sima family." "I already know. Unfortunately, it's not her who came back." Little Helper replied faintly. The child was a little surprised. Sovereign had been standing on the mountain for so long and had not come down. He had actually predicted the movements from the Sima family. To be able to predict such a small matter, Sovereign's prediction ability had improved again. But Sovereign was always frowning. What could he do to make him happy? It was really worrying. Little Helper looked at the distant sky. It was so natural that it was connected to the mountain range, as if it was hidden behind the mountains. He blinked his eyes, forcing back the tears in his eyes, and muttered in his heart, "When will you come back?" At this moment, Sima Yue was being hugged by Little Roar, who did not want to let go. His 4 short limbs were all on her body, and he was crying nonstop. After listening to him cry for a while, Sima Yue comforted him. "All right, aren't I here now? I thought that I would never see you again." Little Roar cried for a while before he was able to speak. "Don't give me that. Thousand Resonance is unconscious. You and I have a soul contract. Can't you feel it?" Sima Yue poked his head. "Right, why are we all awake, but Thousand Resonance is still not awake?" Little Roar thought of being with Thousand Resonance. He had been awake for so long, but Thousand Resonance was still asleep. He was worried for a long time. Previously, he thought that it was because everyone had not woken up, and he was the only one who was special. But now that he saw that everyone was fine, and only Thousand Resonance was alone, he was even more worried. Could it be that Thousand Resonance's injuries were too serious? "Don't worry, Thousand Resonance is fine." Sima Yue saw that he was anxious, and explained, "You woke up because you and I have a soul contract. When my strength increases, you will naturally wake up." Little Seven and the rest woke up because they were in the Spirit Pagoda, and were nurtured by Little Spirit. When Thousand Resonance was in my body, she didn't receive any nourishment, so she didn't wake up. It will be fine after it recuperates here. "Really?" Little Roar raised his head and looked at her. Seeing her nod her head in affirmation, he finally relaxed. Then, Little Roar, who had regained his original nature, began to play around in the Spirit Pagoda. That mischievous look really made her speechless. However, it had to be said that with Little Roar, the Spirit Pagoda was even more lively. When dark came over, Sima Yue walked out of the Spirit Pagoda. Ming raised his brows when he saw that she had recovered. "You recovered so quickly?" "With the help of external forces." Sima Yue smiled. "Have you found a way?" Ming nodded. "There is a way, but it's not easy. It's better than nothing." Sima Yue was not afraid of trouble as long as there was a way. "King, what should we do?" Black Shadow asked. Wu Lingyu stared at him and said what he was worried about. "The dragon eye absorbs the chaotic aura. It has a limit. As long as it's filled up, we should be able to move it," Dark said. "But how do we get the chaotic aura?" Black Shadow frowned. Actually, everyone knew that the chaotic aura naturally came from the chaotic world. Did they have to go to the chaotic world? But that was too dangerous. Dark glared at Black Shadow before continuing. "Only you can get the chaotic aura from there." "Okay." Sima Yu also had this idea in her heart, so she didn't hesitate to agree when she said it. Wu Lingyu wanted to go with them, but he was trapped here and could not leave. "When are we going?" Black Shadow asked. "It's not us. It's just her." Dark glanced at the frowning people and felt helpless. "I have a restriction on me, so I can't go to the chaotic world. If you two go, you probably won't be able to come back. She's the only one who's been there before, so she's the only one who can do this. In the past, not many people who went to the chaotic world returned. Black Shadow and the others were from the underworld, so they definitely could not go. Sima Yue had been there once, so the restriction was useless to her. "Don't worry, I'll be fine if I go alone." Sima Yue was not worried. She just wanted to solve this problem as soon as possible, and then save her mother. "Only people who are fine will be worried about you." Dark patted her shoulder, then opened up a space and threw her in. He did not give anyone time to react. Looking at the closed space, everyone's mouth twitched. "King, did you have to be so fast? You haven't told her how to do it." Dark was speechless under their stares. He understood their gazes and snorted. "Why are you looking at me? I don't know either." The three of them were speechless. Wu Lingyu wanted to fight with him, but could he win? The answer was obvious even with his toes. As for the other two, they did not have the guts to do so. By the time Sima Yu came back to her senses, she was already in a vast expanse of white fog. Looking at the fog, she knew that she was in the chaotic world. Dark, This fellow actually has a restriction placed on him. He can't come here at all. This means that when he said that he had never been here before, he was just bluffing. I don't know what he did here, but someone actually placed a restriction on him. Sima Yoyue's interest in dark was only at the beginning. After walking in the chaotic world for a long time, she did not have the mood to think about dark anymore. I feel like I've been walking for a few months, but everywhere I go is white. I haven't met a single living creature. This place is too strange. She held Little Seven's hand while Little Roar lay on her shoulder. It was lonely to walk alone for so long. Since these two fellows wanted to come out, she let them come out so that they could talk. Indeed, there isn't a single living creature. This place is so big. It can't be just us, right? After Little Roar finished speaking, he leaned on Sima Yoyue's neck. Sima Yoyue was not worried that there were no living creatures. She was worried that dark threw her here without telling her anything. She did not even know how to gather the chaotic energy. He could not possibly find a bottle to store it, right? Yu, let me do it. Little Spirit's voice sounded in her mind. With a thought, Sima Yoyue appeared in her arms. This time, the Spirit Pagoda and the Pocket Cosmos box fused. One of the benefits was that Little Spirit could leave the Spirit Pagoda and move around freely. Little Spirit, what idea do you have? Before Sima Yoyue could say anything, Little Seven asked first. The chaotic world was not fun at all. There was not even a single person, let alone a fight. She wanted to finish this quickly and leave as soon as possible. The outside world was much more fun. Sima Yoyue stared at Little Spirit, waiting for him to say his idea. Chapter 1886. In 1 second, she remembered. Love divided by you? Read book web, no pop-up windows, free to read. Sima Yoyue stared at Little Spirit, her heart a little nervous. She did not know anything about the chaotic world, and was completely blind. She had to try anything. Little Spirit did not keep her in suspense and said directly, I have been trying to see if I can absorb the chaotic chi here. In the end, I found out that I can. Previously, I was able to return the energy I absorbed to you. This chaotic chi should be able to do the same. You're saying that you should first absorb the chaotic chi, and then return it to me. When I transfer to the Dragon Eye, with you around, I won't be injured because of the lack of chaotic chi. Sima Yoyue's eyes lit up. This is a good idea. Little Spirit, I'll leave this to you. And Little Spirit nodded his head seriously. Wu Lingyu had helped him merge twice and raised his grade. He was also Yu Yu's beloved, so he naturally had to treat this seriously. Then how long do you need? Little Seven asked. I don't know either. I feel that to fill that thing up, I need a lot of chaotic chi. However, my absorption speed is not fast. I might need a few years, a few decades, or even a few hundred years. Little Spirit frowned slightly. He had no confidence in this matter. A few hundred years? Little Seven jumped in shock. If she had to stay here for a few hundred years, wouldn't she be bored to death? I'm only saying that it's possible. Little Spirit glared at her. For Yu Yu's health, the more the better. Alright then. Little Seven could not joke about Yu Yu's health. If it was boring, then so be it. It was better than seeing Yu Yu injured. A few hundred years it is, as long as it can solve Ling Yu's problem. Sima Yoyue said. Continue absorbing for now. I'll see if there's any other way. Okay. Little Spirit replied and went back. Yu Yu, what do we do now? Little Roar asked. Let's walk a little more. The chaotic world is so big. It can't be that there's nothing, right? Let's see if we can find anything. After Sima Yoyue finished speaking, she continued to lead the group. They walked in the white world for a few more months. Just when she thought that the world was just like that, a little bit of difference finally appeared. This was something that Little Roar had discovered. In this vast white world, he could actually hear the sound of flowing water. When they followed the sound, they saw a small stream. Is this really water? Little Seven was a little suspicious. There was nothing in this world. They had been walking here for more than half a year, and had not seen anything. How could a stream suddenly appear? Sima Yoyue walked to the side of the stream, and looked at the steam rising from the water. It seems that all the fog in the primal chaos world comes from this stream. This stream was really strange. It didn't look like there was much water, but there was so much steam coming out of it. She wanted to reach out and splash the water, but somehow, she slipped and fell down. Little Seven and Little Roar reacted and stretched out their hands to pull her up, but it was as if they were blocked by something. They couldn't even touch her body, and could only watch as she fell into the water. It looked like there was only a little water in the stream, but when she fell in, it was as if there was no bottom at all. She opened her eyes and realized that she had fallen into another world. It was a pitch-black world with nothing in it. She didn't know how long she had been in the darkness. She even forgot who she was and what she wanted to do. She forgot Wu Lingyu, her father, mother, brother, and sister. She forgot all the people she knew. Her divine sense was empty and she had no memories at all. Just when she was at a loss, she saw a ray of light in front of her. Following that, the ray of light expanded and chased away the darkness. The surroundings were pure and holy. She didn't know where she was and didn't know what this was. She could only open her eyes and look at the creatures that were slowly growing in the empty water. They grew in the water, multiplied and left, one after another. At this moment, she saw a black lotus emerge from the water. That lotus looked familiar to her, but she couldn't remember where she had seen it before. At this moment, she felt that her back was burning, as if she was going to melt. Following that, the lotus slowly bloomed. When it had fully bloomed, the burning sensation on her back slowly dissipated. As time passed slowly, other plants started to grow by the side of the stream. There were various spirit beasts and even humans. Following that, they slowly separated. There were various races and the world was divided. Those that came out of the water became gods. Those that came out later became their subordinates. Later on, the gods disappeared. She didn't know if they were extinct or if they left this place. Later on, there was nothing left here. It was as if it had turned into nothingness. Sima Yue didn't know how long she had stayed at the bottom of the river, but she felt that she had experienced millions of years. She had experienced the vicissitudes of life and saw all the life in the world. She had witnessed the origin and development of life. When she woke up, what she saw was her own territory. It was a territory that was full of life, like a real world. She felt that her territory had already called itself a world. She could even live in it. The scene she saw earlier didn't disappear because she woke up. Instead, it was fresh in her memory. In that place, she witnessed the origin of life. She witnessed the world that had yet to be separated. She witnessed the three realms coexisting peacefully. She also witnessed them being chased out by the gods. They were like fire and water, and from then on, they lived in a barren place. She didn't think that what she saw was an illusion. It was said that the world used to be chaotic. Looking at it now, she felt that what she saw was the origin of the world. If that was really the case, then didn't it mean that all life originated from this stream and lived in the chaotic world? Later on, this place wasn't suitable for living anymore, so everyone left. From then on, the chaotic world became what it was. Thinking about the black lotus she saw, she used to think that it was a coincidence that she came to the chaotic world when her soul was damaged. It seemed that it wasn't true. To be able to come here, it must have something to do with this place. However, at that time, even if she could come in, she couldn't leave. It was Mo Shah who risked his life to come in and bring her out. And Mo Shah could come in because he had a contract with her at that time. He could only come in with her. Now, even without the restriction of the Eye of the Dragon, he wouldn't be able to come in. She just didn't know if what she saw could be seen by everyone who came, or was it the stream that let her see it? Yu, I can't drink anymore. Little Spirit's voice interrupted her thoughts. If I drink any more, I'll be stuffed to death. Chapter 1887. In 1 second, she remembered, Love Divided by You? Read book web no pop-up window free to read. Sima Yue came out from her deep thoughts. Hearing Little Spirit's words, she was puzzled. What are you drinking? Drinking water. Burp. Little Spirit said and burped. Drinking water? What water are you drinking? Sima Yu couldn't remember where she was for a while. How is this a stream? It's clearly water condensed from the primal chaos chi. I've already drunk my fill just now. Little Spirit's voice was very happy. It was just that he did not know how long it would take to absorb the white mist. Now that he was full, everything was solved. Sima Yu entered the spirit pagoda and saw that Little Spirit had actually created a small stream in the medicine field. She did not know where it ended and she did not know where it went. Perhaps only Little Spirit knew how long it was. Don't tell me you moved the entire stream in? She was speechless. She saw the primal chaos chi emerging from the water and lingering above the medicine field, nourishing the medicine field. However, under Little Spirit's control, there was not much of it. It was not like the primal chaos world which turned into fog everywhere. Such a long stream was almost the same as the one she saw outside. No wonder she was wondering if it had moved the entire stream in here. Little Spirit appeared beside her and happily danced with his hands and feet. I don't know how big that little stream is, it's endless. I think I've drunk enough, but it's not even a drop in the bucket. Sima Yue did not expect that such a small stream would be so big. However, with such a small stream in the spirit pagoda, it would naturally be enough to fill the dragon eye. Yu, let me tell you. With this, I also have the primal chaos chi. It's much more powerful than ordinary divine weapons. Little Spirit grabbed her and jumped around. There were very few things that could make him so happy. This time, he was able to raise 2 grades consecutively. To him, this was something that could only be encountered by chance, especially this primal chaos chi which was the origin of life. This is not bad, Sima Yue patted its head. Since we have obtained the river water, let's prepare to go back. After she left the spirit pagoda, she remembered that she had come in through the domain. Since the domain had been confiscated, she had come out from this place. She put away her domain and found herself in the bottomless water. There was a faint light coming from above. She swam up and when she came out of the water, she saw Little Seven's anxious face. Seeing her, Little Seven and Little Roar finally relaxed and said, "You quickly come up." This time, her outstretched hand successfully grabbed onto Sima Yue. Sima Yue felt that the water was sucking her down. She only managed to climb up with the help of Little Seven and Little Roar. Are you alright? You scared us to death. Little Seven looked at him worriedly. I'm fine. Other than feeling a little heavy, Sima Yue did not feel any discomfort. How long have I been in the water? More than 10 days. Little Seven replied. We wanted to go down to look for you, but we couldn't get into the water no matter what. We don't know why it's so strange. Luckily you're finally out. If not Little Roar and I. It's only been 10 days. Sima Yue muttered softly. She had clearly seen the world, but only 10 days had passed. What's wrong? Sima Yu told them about what she saw, and Little Seven was shocked when she heard it. The life in this world was actually born from here. We actually saw this river with our own eyes. It's a pity that this place is no longer suitable for living. Who in this world would know that this is the origin of life? Little Roar and Little Seven were deeply moved. It really makes one sigh. Sima Yue was also deeply moved. However, Little Spirit has filled up quite a lot of water from the river. We can think of a way to go back. How do we go back? Little Roar asked. This question stumped the two of them. That's right, how do they go back? Last time, Emosha had brought her out. This time, that fellow Dark threw her over without telling her anything. How could she go back? Just at this moment, she felt a scorching pain from her shoulder. A black light shot out from her shoulder and pierced through the thick fog. It opened a passage in the air and brought her up quickly. Yu. Little Seven and Little Roar were shocked by this sudden change. Luckily, Sima Yue used the power of the contract to keep them into the contract space at the last moment. Only then did she successfully bring them out. When Sima Yue stepped on the soil by the river of forgetfulness, she still had some lingering fear. It was really too dangerous just now. If not for her quick reaction, Little Seven and Little Roar would have been left in the chaotic world. Hence, when she saw a certain someone looking at her mockingly, she could not help but say, "Why didn't you tell me beforehand?" What did I tell you? If I told you, Would I still be able to see this panic side of you? Dark smiled with a satisfied look on his face. She was too calm. After being with her for so many years, he had never seen her panic over anything. Even when it came to Wu Lingyu, she was only anxious and worried. Now that he had finally seen her panic, although it was only for a short moment, he was satisfied. Sima Yue rolled her eyes at him. When would this fellow stop his bad taste? Dark naturally ignored her rolling eyes and asked, "Let's not talk about this first. What did you see over there? Was the matter of the chaotic aura resolved?" Sima Yue told him about what happened over there. Although it was not a short time, she did not encounter many things. After all, she had been walking for half a year. It was the last scene that shocked everyone. "I never thought that you would be able to see that." Dark seemed to be deep in thought and stopped talking. When Sima Yue saw him like this, she knew that he knew something. But looking at him like this, it seemed that he didn't intend to say it, just like how he didn't intend to say anything about him and the chaos world and why he couldn't go because of the restriction. "I also got quite a lot of chaotic aura. Let's go to the Dragon Eye now." Sima Yue wanted to solve the matter of Wu Lingyu as soon as possible. However, Dark and the others were not at ease. From the last time she was injured, a little bit of chaotic aura was not enough. If she only got a little bit, wouldn't she be injured again? However, after seeing the chaotic stream in the spirit pagoda, the four of them shut their mouths. With just this river, a few dragon's eyes should be enough. "You're really greedy." Although he said this, he still brought her to the Dragon Eye. Wu Lingyu was still very worried when he saw her approaching the Dragon Eye again. He stood beside her and stared at her closely. If she felt any discomfort, he would immediately go forward and pull her down. Seeing her put her hand on the Dragon Eye, everyone's hearts were in their throats. You're tuning in to the Echoes of the Heart YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.